Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport, back here for the 7th round of the season and the second and final of the 90-minute races. We're at the home of the Indy 500 and the Indianapolis 8 Hours, the brickyard of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What a track this is, what a destination to come, and what historical events have happened here in the past. And can SimPlay Motorsport lay down another of them historical markers? We are live for the Indianapolis 90-minute race for round number 7, and the championship is getting intense. Steve Millington has a 61-point lead over the top four. It is Gary Leach, who is only 21.5 points behind him. Sam Williams is only 41 points behind, and Mirko Ricci 61 points behind, heading into the final 3 weeks. Wolski is P5. He is just under 100 points behind, as well as Sam Grieve. So really anybody's game. Even Michael Johnson in 7th, 101 behind. Really anybody's game at the moment in this championship. Tanner Kneebone is P8 from Mike Hunt in P9. Kevin Argent from Keenan Stardog. Gabino is P12, sadly not here tonight, he's under the weather. De Block is 13th. Flores, Williams, Brian Craig, Sturrock Limiter, Andrew Taylor, Dronelander, Betterson, Popovich and Cummings. And in bronze, it is Peckman, who has a good lead over Neil Broom now in 2nd place, with Cherry Moore down in 3rd. Malarex is 4th from Stapley, 5th from Tucker, Privet, Page, Taylor, Smith, Simcoe and Ian Best. And in the Teams Championship, well, it's shaping up to be an exciting race for what looks to be P2 at the moment, because SimPlay Racing are just shy of 300 points clear of 4Q Motorsport, but anything can change there. 4Q have a 57-point lead over Greasy Bandits Racing, with Forever Forward Racing only 11 points behind them. Cloud9 are in 5th place, and they're a little off the back of Forever Forward at the moment, but could jump into that top 4 with a couple of good results as this season goes on. The Vanguard Race Team, a P6 from Richie's Course Team, Team GBR, Team Merlot, FRL Racing Team, Balkan Sim Hub, Black and Blue Racing, Pages Racing Team, Billy Nomex, Mustang Alley Racing and Quantum Motorsport. I am joined by Langley in the commentary box once again, who will be joining us in just a moment on the voice chat, where you'll be able to hear him. He's just currently sorting something out on his console at the moment, and we'll be able to speak to Langley live from Indianapolis. In my opinion, one of the best American circuits there is on this ACC platform, and interesting to see what these drivers will be able to do tonight. We can see Steve Millington currently the fastest driver out there on the circuit. Cherry Moore is here today, running in 9th place. At 10th place now as Kieran Argent's just popped up into P8. So looks pretty clear of the rest of the bronze field by a second at the moment. So Cherry Moore has got that Mercedes hooked up. Tanner Kneebone is running a one-off livery for tonight. Langley will be able to explain a bit more about that one when he is with us, but we'll see what happens in this race as we go forward. Should be an interesting night tonight. We've obviously got a historical event happening in the real world as well, with Bats and 4 astronauts back to the moon, not landing on it, they're only going around it, but they're about to take off in 3 hours, so this event should be wrapped up and we'll be able to tune into that one. But I've currently got that on my other monitor, keeping an eye on that, because it's something that interests me in the real world. But we've got to try and get lift off here at Indianapolis in what is a very tricky turn 1, a 90-degree right-hander to play ball with, and this could be an interesting race to see. Great to have Simcoe back this week. Keenan Starlog is in as well, so that's 23 drivers on that list of drivers we have in front of us. Well, Michael Johnson's Porsche is going pretty well at the moment as well, currently sat in P3, only 2/10 off of that pole time, but what a stage this is for that of Steve Millington at the moment, who is leading the field. Wolski is currently in the pit lane. Now don't forget, the drivers will have that 10-minute warm-up period, that 10-minute or 11-minute 30 period on the grid, where they will have to wait due to the problem we had with the free practice session back at Kyle Army and Pro-Am. So it will be a full 11-minute break, or a 10-minute break. We'll be back with that final 1-minute 30 to go through the grid order. So it'll be this and then into qualifying before we head into that short 10-minute break before we get the final Pro-Am 90-minute race underway in this one here at Indianapolis. Beautiful, beautiful circuit to go racing, and let's see what will happen tonight. At this fantastic motor speedway. As it looks like then Michael Johnson is going to return to the pits. Indeed, he does, trying to pick a car up on a lap. There's Kieran Argent will jump on board with. As let's see what will happen throughout this one. This is technically the motorcycle layout as well, not the road course. The road course doesn't do the intersection that Kieran Argent has just come through. That has a little chicane coming down onto the back straight, and then a bit of a difference towards the final sector as well. They don't take the extended sort of right-hander sweeping through to the left. So we are on the motorcycle road course. Bigger fan of this track. I prefer that little infield bit they come through instead of that little chicane onto the back straight. It just provides a bit more overtaking opportunities if drivers make a mistake. With a 2.59 mile long circuit, 4.17 in kilometres. And as we know, very famous for the Indy 500 around here, or in the GT world, the Indy 8 hours. As the drivers will get ready to prepare for their qualifying session. Remember, the bronze drivers go out first. The silver drivers have to sit and wait patiently for their session, as Kieran Argent will come back to the pits and qualifying can get underway. He will be the first of the qualifying runners to get out there onto the circuit. They all seem to be stationary at the moment, and it will be Simco who will take us away on the first lap of this session. And he's the only one moving actually in the pit lane at the moment. There's somebody behind him just about to come out as well, the 186. Now, one thing to mention here, you do not want a track limit penalty around this circuit, because it will absolutely hammer your race and the ability to have a good result. Now, the 90 minutes, you could probably work it back, but if it was a sprint in the normal format of Format A, it will hurt you. A drive-through penalty cost you 44 seconds. A stop-go penalty would cost you 79 seconds. And that is how long it will take for these drivers if they fancy changing tyres. 79 seconds is what they will have to play with. So, very interesting to see what these drivers are going to do on this track tonight. It will really prove to be, I think, a real good strategy race, this 90-minute one, to see what these boys can do out there. It's going to be such an interesting race to go through and see what they can do. Just waiting to see if Langley is with us or not. He is with us back indeed. He's given me the thumbs up on the cameras that me and Langley have with each other to communicate. Great to have you back in the commentary box for tonight, dude. It's this is going to be one heck of a race.
Best track on the calendar, isn't it? I'll generate up some drama with that one, but in my opinion, this is probably the best racing facility in the world. Absolutely love it around here. I mean, a lot of road courses built out of nothing are pretty terrible. This one, it's just always brilliant. It doesn't matter what race is around here. Road course racing around Indianapolis, such a special place to be. Such a special place in the heart of downtown Speedway, Indiana. And we're going to see some absolute brilliant action around here tonight. That iconic tower on the front straight, and also the timing tower as well with all the positions. So great to be here. Gasoline Alley and all, and puts a smile on my face. Absolutely love this place.
Sure, Michael, have an argument with you about Gasoline Alley.
It's called Gasoline Alley. You can't change the name of that.
Petroleum Alley is what he said last week.
Don't sound like a certain other admin.
We're on board Simco though as he comes through onto that inner loop part of the section, then through the right-hander into this long left-hander. A bit of a hurry up and wait corner to get the power down. He gets a bit of a slide on mid-corner there. Now you've got to flick it right. Really comes up quick, that right-hander, and it's a bit of a short one. Run it out as wide as you dare, down onto this back straight. Get that power down before you come up to, I think, probably the best sequence of corners at this circuit. This chicane, very tricky. It kind of wants to invite you to be on the power at times, but you've got to really manage that throttle control. Left, right, be greedy on the curb. Simco probably a little too greedy there as he comes back to the left, now to the right again. And you're going to head onto the banked part of the oval. We've seen some incidents here before where drivers on the outside have been squeezed into the wall and it's caused some chaos. If you remember back to the Project Cars 2 days, we've seen Joseph Bates, aka Fury at the times, ended up in the catch fencing with no wheel thanks to a certain Kieran Argent, and Gary Leach driving the wrong way down the track to get back into the pit lane. But Simcoe flicks it through the left-hander, now hugs it tight to that right-hand side before drifting out wide. Try not to cross that white line on the exit. And over the start line they're about to come. And Simcoe should be putting the first lap time on the timing tower. I hate how the fact that on my screen, the grandstand and catch fencing in the background get blurred out and sort of as if they're not loading in, as Simcoe does pop a lap time on the board, and it's currently only a 10th off the back of Cherry Moore, so not a bad lap time, not a bad start there for him, as here comes Stapley up into third. Neil Broom is about to cross the line, and he just has done into fourth. Huge championship fight though, Langley. Peckman currently leading this way. From then that of Neil Broom. Cherry Moore's got some catching up to do, but Broom has been on the pace as of late in this bronze category.
Yeah, I was going to say those top four were really close. Top five actually were really close together. And then Peckman puts it 3/10 clear of the rest of the bronze field. And yeah, we're shaping up now to get a very big fight in this bronze championship coming down to the end. I think tonight is going to be a critical round in terms of who can put their name at the championship forefront. 90-minute race, 1.5 times points overall. Yeah, tonight's a big night to see who has it and who's ready to make a charge at this championship.
And we're at that business end, Gray, aren't we, where the championship now is coming down to the wire. This is now the real stage of the season where the championship is going to start taking even more shape. You fancy them. You've really got to look at Cherry Moore and think he's got to pull some results out the bag now to get this championship back in his grasp.
Yeah, I would think he needs to have a clean round, a worry-free round, which he hasn't had in a while. He's very quick. Just needs to try to stay away from some incidents. And honestly, he's quick enough to where even if he does get involved in incidents, he shouldn't need worry about it as much as he does, or just quit or retire from the race like he does. Honestly, he has the pace on most nights anyway, so we'll see tonight as Peckman puts the absolute hammer down on the rest of the bronze field, telling the rest of the bronze class that he is not playing around. 1.2 seconds clear of his next closest rival.
That's a statement.
Absolutely monster lap. Statement lap.
Statement, yeah. Indeed, it was. He didn't seem to have this pace in the free practice. For those who've just tuned in, I'll show you the free practice lap times now. Look, Cherry Moore was up in 10th. Peckman was only 19th fastest with a 38.8. Cherry Moore had managed to do a 37.5. Now remember, the practice was at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. The qualifying is at 5 p.m. and this is a 90-minute evening race here at 7 p.m. So it will go from light into the darkness of Indianapolis. So this is going to provide one heck of a setting, and you're not going to want to miss the rest of this week, because pros weather tomorrow night, oh my word, let me tell you, it is an interesting one to see what their weather will play out tomorrow. Simcoe's about to finish another lap here. He's coming around the final bend now, and real tricky circuit at times, Indianapolis, to get absolutely bang on and nailed. It's got a lovely flow to it. I find this place absolutely fantastic. No improvement for Simcoe there. Cherry Moore to the line. There we go. Finds the pace. He pops it on to P1 for the time being. Only a 10th though, Langley. That's easy for... You should think Peckman could find that easy enough.
Yeah, I think this fight for pole will be definitely down to Peckman and Cherry Moore. I do expect the rest of the field to find some improvement on their laps. In fact, Peckman right now crossing the line. Does he find any improvement on that lap time? No, he doesn't. Stays P2. But yeah, as you can see, Neil Broom there, popping it up into P3, 8/10 off the pace. He's been right there, right about there. Not too far off of those bronze front runners, and he's been very impressive recently. Malarix goes up to 4th, a second off, but only 2/10 off Neil Broom.
And the drivers should all get one more flying lap in under their belts. They've got a minute 53 left to get around, so they should all get one more lap in. And look, I can see a number on my track map leaving the pit lane, or I say leaving the pit lane, but rolling down pit road. He is able to wait at the exit of the pit lane. And Kieran Argent has followed his teammate in Tan and Ebone, and we'll get into his livery in just a moment. I like that strategy from the Forever Forward guys. It's a long old pit lane, and you want to be out there when that timer ticks to 10 minutes to give yourself as much time on the track as possible. I like that from the Forever Forward team there.
it is a very long pit lane, and actually, the bronze drivers are a little bit disadvantaged from when the session starts, because they have to trek that entire pit lane with their time running down. Actually, these silver drivers have it a bit easy on them being able to line up at the end, and yeah, you can see how far his Tanner's car down is from the rest of the pack. 1 minute to go then. Everyone should be able to get one more lap in. Starting with Simcoe, he'll be the first one to finish his qualifying. I think Malarex will make the line in time, and very much should make the line in
Peckman's
time.
pitted.
And Peckman's qualifying is over. So Cherry Moore's biggest shout at losing pole position is in the pit lane. Neil Broom, though, did improve on his last run, now only 4/10. If he can find just a little more time, could he be in with a shout of a pole position here? We'll see.
We'll see. Good evening to Gary Clarbel, Tanner Kneebone himself, Swindle Mac. Good evening to yourself. Bettis in there as well as Peaceful Stepdad. Good evening to you all. Hope you're all doing well on this Wednesday afternoon here on April the 1st. The year is now 4 months in to this 2026 year. And Langley, we'll talk about it on the outlap a little bit without giving too much away, but some exciting things coming for next season already in the pipeline.
Yeah, some exciting things and possible branching out, new drivers, new categories, maybe. Yeah, it's very exciting times. SimPlay Motorsport will be moving with the times. Always a GT car league first. So don't you have to worry about that. We still will be on ACC. I can say that with 100% certainty. But not a guarantee that all three will be on ACC next season.
Indeed. So Cherry Moore didn't improve but stays on pole position. Stapley moves into third only by 1/10 of a second. Broom improves by 100th. And it is then the Silvers who are now out on qualifying. Good evening to Jamal Clouden in the chat. Now, it is a great lap, really, from out of nowhere from Stapley. Now, we're on board with Tanner Kneebone. He's the first of the Silver drivers out on track. Explain the livery choice. He's running a one-off livery tonight in honour of somebody or something that you'll tell us about in a moment. Just talk us through the livery choice for Tanner Kneebone tonight.
So you're seeing a one-off livery from the likes of Tanner Kneebone. I was supposed to be involved with that tomorrow night. Unfortunately, cannot do it. But I will say keep an eye on Jimenez's car tomorrow night. He is also running a one-off livery for this Indianapolis. What you are seeing as he's actually leading the pack to start his first flying lap, this is a tribute livery to the one and only Rick Mears, one of the four-time Indy 500 winners. My livery was supposed to be AJ Foyt. He's also a four-time winner of the Indianapolis 500. And Jimenez livery will be in honor of Helio Castroneves, who recently won. I believe it was 2021 most recently, but I think Jimenez is running Helio Castroneves' livery from when he won back-to-back Indy 500s. So this is a bit of fun we've had as the few Americans in SimPlay Motorsport. Such an iconic track, needed some iconic liveries for the racing this week. So yeah, this one is for Rick Mears, four-time Indy 500 champion. And keep an eye out tomorrow night for Helio's back-to-back livery, red and white, out on track.
Shame it wasn't pink and brown, really, for like a nice beef Wellington. But either way, great honour. And I suppose if we had Daytona on this game as well, he'd probably be able to run a Helio Castroneves Acura Daytona livery, because he's a multiple winner in the Daytona 24, which is another hint to where we might be going, with a hint to that being, of course, that we heard this week. Again, if you do know from the Discord, if you are aware that what it is, please do not say it on stream, because we'd obviously like to announce it properly on the social medias when all is confirmed with it. But it is looking quite nice. Tanner Kneebone, 12 thousandths of a second off that pole time of Cherry Moore. We expect the times to start tumbling down as Gary Leach doesn't get a lap time on the board. What about Mirko Ritchie himself? No lap time for him. Sam Williams is not that one. It was Andrew Taylor who crossed the line and didn't put a lap time in. Steve Millington was the quickest in practice, and he currently goes 9th fastest as Popovic moves up the order into P number 2 at the moment. I've got a feeling, Langley, tonight we could be in for a real tight race.
Practice times looked a lot closer than expected, and this track provides some unexpected moments, to say the least.
I've just realised what I've done tonight. I've sat and worked out the reverse grid, and there's a qualifying session. Nah, good job qualifying overwrites the reverse grid, but I've just took all the time setting the server up, inputted all the reverse grid data for a race that didn't need it. Oh, well done. Well done, mate. Who's next one to the Pelicans? Tananiva coming to the line in P3 at the moment. I say coming to the line, into the final sector he goes now. He's got his teammate Kieran Argent just behind him. Now these two have had this strategy of being the first two out there in qualifying, trying to get as many runs in as they can, as I've just seen Kieran absolutely obliterate part of the polystyrene braking marker or direction markers to say that you're not taking this part of the circuit. Kieran fancied taking the Indy 500 part in reverse, and that invalidated his lap time. Tanner to the line, and there he goes. Finds that improved lap there. Gary Leach will now be to the line before we turn our attention to Mirko Ritchie. Does Gary get a time on the board this time? No, he doesn't. Neither. Oh, yes, he does. Mirko Ritchie moves up that timing ladder. Here comes Andrew Taylor to put a lap time on the board, and he goes P16. This is Steve Millington with that of Popovic right under the rear wing. Steve moves up into P12. Keenan Stardog coming through the final couple of corners as Sam Williams moves up to 7th. And Stardog moves up the order as well. Wolski's just moved up a little bit more. Where is that of Betson? We're not going to be able to find him, so let's try and find the 68 of Hunt, who's currently P9 and stays P9. Only the 74 left to set a lap time, and that is Dronelander. Gary Leach here, taking a lot of time to get a valid lap time on the board, and you know it's getting to that point to qualifying where he needs to bank one in. You know, all right, it's a 90-minute race, it's a long race. But Gary here needs to get something on the board if he's to get close to Steve Millington and keep that fight up for the championship.
I think most impressive thing I'm realizing so far, and yes, we still have 4 minutes left in quali. We have 4 bronze drivers in the top 10 still. And we have 4 minutes left in this session. Usually we see one, Cherry Moore, in the top 10 for sure. And then there's a lot of silver drivers that pack themselves in between them. But these 4 of Cherry, Moore, Peckman, Stapley, Broom all put in very respectable qualifying laps. And it's proving out there right now that they are not too easy to beat as Tanner Kneebone back to the top of the board. Kieran Argent up into P3 out of nowhere. The Forever Ford going to the forward part of the grid. And I was unexpected off the pace of practice.
Yeah, I wasn't expected off the pace of practice. Here comes Andrew Taylor, doesn't move. Steve Millington moves up into P9, and Popovic stays
does bank one in
5th place. He does, and he banks a decent lap in as well, because it put him inside the top 10. He's put him into 7th place. Here comes Wolski before Sam Williams to the line, and it will be Betterson just behind him. As Betson moves up into P12, Hunt will be the next man to the line, and we'll pick up this 74 again. There's a lot coming across the line at that stage. Jimenez is out of class early, so glad you can join us, Jimenez, as Dronelander gets the last section of the circuit a little bit wrong. And I can inform you that they have shut the door on the rocket for taking off into space today. Well, they've shut one door, there's another door to shut, so they've got to get that second door.
I can go step outside, Matt, and see if I can see it tonight, if you want me to.
Send me a video, if you do. That would be lovely. It's one of my dreams, that, to be in Florida for a NASA launch. That'd be absolutely brilliant.
You can see it in Georgia as well, that's how bright it gets.
Yeah. Well, I bet. Tanner Kneebone, though, currently on pole. What a qualifying session at the minute for Forever Forward Racing, by the way. This is a great start to their night.
Yeah, I can see someone who's put in the practice laps around here tonight. Definitely wanting... To be fair, us Americans have had wretched luck around the American tracks as Kneebone extends his advantage out at front. We've had terrible luck around the likes of Watkins Glen and Laguna Seca so far this season. So Gary Leach up into P2. making himself in with a shout of that pole position. Only a 10th off of Tanner Kneebone. Ooh, he's a bit wide at turn 1, though. He should, though, be able to get another lap in. He should be one of the last ones to get a lap in, actually.
Possibly so, as we say good evening to Gary Clarble in the chat, and Jimenez saying, I saw a failed launch in Maryland live, quite scary. Yeah, I can imagine. As Kieran Argent currently 7th. Why are we on board with Kieran? I'm sure I pressed somebody else, but either way, everybody has done their lap times. A few drivers sat in the pits from this silver class, so they are done. Johnson has decided to not qualify for this one, and he did actually ask to be put to the back of the grid, so when I worked it out, I put him to the back. The 96 has stopped. That is Sam Greaves. P5 for Sam Greaves. Good qualifying there. Tight qualifying, though. A second separates the top 14. So anybody who's still really within a shout, and Tanner Kneebone, could he maybe even sneak one more lap in here? He's got 45 seconds,
he will.
And he's near the final part of the circuit. So let's keep our eye on Tanner Kneebone here then. Has he got enough to just
Gary be able to get one more lap in?
Yeah, that'll be tight for Gary. 30 seconds, possibly so. You're at full throttle from this point onwards. Unless you maybe a little lift through this final part of the circuit, but that will really hurt your qualifying time. As here comes Tanner Kneebone then to the line. Will easily get one more lap in on the session. No improvement for him. What about Kieran Argent? Has he found anything in this qualifying session? He gets one more lap in, moves up to 6th place. Gary Leach will also get another lap in. No improvement for him there. And Mirko Ricci will also get another run in here. So the top 4, the first 4 cars on circuit will get an extra lap in here. Popovic will be the first man to finish qualifying. And he goes provisional pole position right at the end. Millington moves himself up into P6. Keenan Stardog goes up into 18th place. Andrew Taylor, 17th for him. Dronelander stays 16th. Wolski popped one into P5. So it's just the first 4 cars out on a lap. And all of a sudden, Tanner Kneebone's got to find half a second.
Out of absolutely nowhere. Half a second on the rest of the field. Popovic puts the hammer down. And, yeah, that is some margin out of nowhere at the end of qualifying here.
Some margin indeed for that of Popovic in the Mercedes-Benz, let's not forget. So an absolutely fantastic start to his qualifying. Can he hold on to it, though, in this session? Or has Tanner, Gary, Kieran Argent, or Mirko Ricci got anything left in the locker to try and take another pole position? Tanner Kneebone hasn't. He's gone wide. That'll be the end of his lap, so he's ruined it there. Kieran Argent needs 9/10 of a second. Well, they say miracles do happen, and that'll be some miracle for Kieran Argent, who bails to the pit lane to forever forward or forever finished in this qualifying session. Gary's up on his lap time, but has he got 6/10 of a second, Ray?
Not quite that much, but he is up on his lap here. About a couple tenths. Can he pip Kneebone?
Oh, no.
So close. Just 200ths. Mirko Ricci to the line. Did he improve? No, he does not. Wow. Look at second through, I don't know, 8th. They're very close, all within 3/10.
Well, second to 13th
Popovic
is
out
only
of
18th.
nowhere.
Second to 13th is 8/10 of a second. So that is absolutely fantastic, and that will be Mercedes-Benz's first pole position in Pro-Am. Obviously, pole position goes to the statistics go to the outright pole sitter, and that will be a point for Popovic in this silver race. Obviously, it was new for us last week, and he could climb ahead of a few drivers here tonight, or he could get closer, sorry, to that of Betson. It's the old drivers that have pulled out this season that I still have on my spreadsheet that are still there. So then, Langley, what a race this could be. And your grid order is this. It's Popovic from Tanner Kneebone, Gary Leach from Mirko Ricci, row 3 of Wolski and Steve Millington, Sam Greaves from Kieran Argent, P7 and 8. Cherry Moore, bronze pole position and inside the top 10 alongside Sam Williams. Poor qualifying from Sam Williams there. Peckman in second place in bronze. He's then got Hunt next to him. Stapley in third in bronze alongside Betterson. Broom alongside Dronelander with Andrew Taylor alongside Malarex. Keenan Stardog will be alongside Simcoe, Privet and Tucker together, and Johnson at the back on his own. We are going to take a very short break, and we'll be back in just a few Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, SimPlay Motorsport, as we get ready to go here for the Indianapolis race. And as you can see, yes, it is a very cloudy day. It already looks pretty dark overhead, but the darkness is about to descend even more as we get going on this formation lap here at Indianapolis for what should be a fantastic race throughout. We've got Popovic on for his first ever pole here at SimPlay Motorsport. Langley, who are you tipping then for this race win? Because 90 minutes, anything can happen.
I think 90 minutes. Because seeing someone take pole by half a second, it's hard to pick against them when they show pace like that. But I'm going to be a bit biased here tonight. And I know the BMW has not been great for him, especially on tires. But I'm going to be a bit biased and pick that Rick Mears liveried BMW piloted by Kneebone.
Yeah, I kind of fancy him. I'm also looking at Mirko Ricci, to be honest with you. I think he could have some good pace in this one. I'm going to split the difference and go Mirko Ricci. Ogwin, Tanner, Kneebone. Vote is in the chat. Popovic, Kneebone, Gary Leach. If you disagree with the top three, do comment if you do select other on who you think could win this first race. We can already see that the light is taking over here at Indianapolis. You can see the lights are full beams from the drivers. Popovic really chucking it around down this back straight, getting some warmth into them tyres here at the moment. He is really giving it some beans at the moment.
Yeah, trying to warm up those tires. Mercedes, not a bad car around here apparently. And yeah, sliding it all over the place. Actually, Gary Leach just bottomed out over one of the curbs there as well. So they're really trying to get tire temp. It is a bit cooler with the cloud cover, and it will be turning nighttime eventually. So unfortunate that we don't get that dreamy sunset over Indianapolis that we were talking about, Matt. But we definitely won't get it tomorrow night either.
We definitely will not. I am so looking forward to tomorrow night. It is going to be chaos in the Pro Series, let me tell you. It will be a fantastic race to be a part of, so make sure you join us live, as well as check out the description below and go and check out Design Manchester, our fantastic sponsor for the evening, for the series, should I say. Designers of laser engraved gifts, mugs, printer clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. And don't forget, thumbs up, hit the bell to be notified, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Good evening to Benny Varga and Millie in the chat. Benny Varga says, good evening everyone, we'll be back tomorrow, Langers. Will you be back tomorrow, Langers? Been lonely for a few weeks now. He won't, sadly. He's at work, Benny Varga. But we'll see what happens as we, Langley, are about to get ready to go green here at Indianapolis. Popovic starts well in front, and he's got himself a drive-through from being out of position. And the one track you don't want to drive through, 44 seconds. It will cost him. He has got that. Mirko Ricci going side by side with Gary Leach down in towards turn number one. Is Gary going to be able to keep hold of that position? No, he's not. Steve Millington looking right around the outside of Wolski as well. Little hip and shoulder from the pair of them there. But they all keep pointing in the right direction. Chaos, so it looks like down the bottom end of the field. That is Dronelander, who's just had his own moment. And round he goes, and everybody gets through. But Popovic drive-through penalty, Langley, already at the start of this race. That has cost him massive amounts at this early stage. But the bonus is, it is only early on.
That is the bonus, that it's only early on, but like you said, this pit lane is eternal for a drive-through compared to the likes of Alton Park, where you'd only lose 19 seconds. You said you lose 44 seconds around here. Absolute scrapping it down the field of Millington. I saw Sam Williams involved. I think Sam Greaves as well going into this braking zone. It looks like Steve keeps ahead. Kieran Argent right there as well. Absolute chaos up and down the field. Some great racing so far, but looks like they're all away pretty clean.
Pretty clean. Bar Dronelander's own little mistake. It looks like everybody has got away nice and clean. Cherry Moore's got a car between himself and Peckman, and Argent made the move up the inside of Greaves there then to just put the with Williams now putting the pressure on Greaves, and Steve Millington under pressure from Kieran Argent. Mirko Ricci under pressure from Gary Leach further down the field. Look at this gaggle of cars. Cherry Moore with that looked like Peckman, who nearly went into the side of Hunt. Bettison is on the back of them with Stapley, Simcoe, Malarex, Broom, Taylor down the order. Tucker, Stardog, Johnson. Privet's had a few loss of positions at the start of this one, and Dronelander playing catch-up. Popovic stays out, though. Tanner still with him, as is Mirko Ricci and Gary Leach in this one at the moment. But there are cars absolutely everywhere, jostling for position on this opening lap of the race. Kieran Argent's pulled out to have a look. Sam Williams behind that of Sam Greaves. Can't do anything there. What about Stapley further down on Bettison? Nothing he can do. And Stardog as well, having a look up the inside of Taylor, as Taylor makes a bit of a lunge on that of Mark Tucker, but no can do for the Porsche or the McLaren driver through this one. Mark Tucker now still trying to attack the back of Broome while fending off Andrew Taylor behind him. But already a good start from the drivers out front. And yeah, some real tasty battles.
Gary's wide on the grass. He's lost a position to Wolski there. No harm done though in the long term. No damage on his car. Just got a bit wide at that left-hander that likes to linger on, and you have to be patient around it to make sure you can hug your car on the left to get the run on this back straight. Gary just dipping a wheel in the dirt there, losing a position.
Indeed he does. Further down the field we go. Hunt trying to attack the back of Cherry Moore with Peckman just behind him in the middle. Excuse me. In the middle of that bronze battle, excuse me, there. As he goes through. Andrew Taylor is off through the S's section, rejoined. Stardog and Johnson going at it as well. And these cars, Dronelander and Privet already back onto the lead train, should I say. So they've not lost a lot of time at all.
Williams a bit deep, hitting the polystyrene, losing a place to Cherry Moore and Mike Hunt, and that is Peckman, it looks like, trying to go around the outside now.
He will. And
I think he will get the job done. Popovich has to box this lap for the drive-through or he will get disqualified. And it looks like that Aston Martin of Richard Bettison now has a run on Sam Williams down the front straight, pulls to the inside. Sam gives him the room. Will he be later on the brakes? No, he will not. That McLaren having the superior straight line speed over the Aston Martin. Our two picks, Matt, of Kneebone and Ritchie, net P1, P2 after this drive-through is served.
Yeah, looking pretty good at the moment. They're sticking with each other. They've got a good gap back to Wolski at the moment, who he's pulled a little bit away of Gary Leach, obviously from Gary's moment. Argent's dropped off the back of Steve. Greaves and Cherry Moore still in there. Bettison and Sam Williams still in there with Peckman. Bettison's coming under pressure from Stapley at the moment. And further down the field as well, look, Neil Broome attacking the back of Malarex with Tucker there as well. Andrew Taylor a little wide. That could open the door for Stardog and Johnson, but it doesn't. Privet's got Dronelander gaining on the back of him as well. Long way to go though, 5 minutes into this race. Still plenty of time for anything to happen in this race as they all come through the chicane now. A couple of cars side by side in the background. That looks to be Stardog and Johnson. Up the inside, Johnson has a look, bounces over the curbs, and no can do for Johnson there then. So he's just not able to get that position done in this race at the moment. Sam Williams still trying to claw down Peckman in this one after he made that mistake. And Gary Leach back within a second of Wolski already. And Popovich is in for that drive-through penalty. So Tanner Kneebone inherits the lead of this race through a drive-through penalty for Popovich. The fuel's going to be interesting tonight, Langley. What strategy are these drivers going to take? That's going to be the biggest question.
It is a big question. The temperatures are a bit cooler, but I still think you would have to take tires on this one.
Sorry, Langley, not sure what's happened here, but Greaves very, very slow. It won't even let me select him. I can't find where he is. Where is he? There's Malarex. Greaves is very slow. He's only just come across the line. I'm not sure what has happened to Sam Greaves here, but he's tumbled right down the order and he's going to end up. In fact, Cherry Moore. What has happened to Cherry Moore as well? Did Greaves hit Cherry Moore? Did them two make contact? And Cherry Moore was dead last. It's now Sam Greaves. It's now Popovich, but Sam Greaves has waited behind Cherry Moore, and Cherry Moore's bronze championship has taken a hit there. Sam Williams has now lost out to Bettison as well.
They're on track, weren't they?
They was, yeah. So I wonder if there's been an incident between the two in that one. Here comes Gary Leach, though. Drive-through done, and you can see the gap between Popovich on the radar and the others. Let me break the track map a little bigger. There you can see Popovich, the number 8, and the rest of the train. That is a huge gap for Popovich to pull back in this race.
Over a half a lap behind visually, and yeah, that's just a massive penalty for Popovich. And Race not over though. Still a long way to go. I see a car off on the car map. I'm not sure who that is.
I think that said 36. It can't be 36. It's got a 6 on the end. Is that the 56 of Simcoe? It was Simcoe, who was running in a good position, and he's down now all the way back to just ahead of Sam Greaves as he has another twitch. Sam Greaves is now going to look up the inside, coming through into the final section of this lap. Greaves alongside that of Simcoe on the inside line for Sam Greaves. He's going to go up the inside and move.
There's a car around.
Oh, there is. That's Privet. That's Privet.
Privet was right on the exit curb of that corner, nowhere he could go. Good on him for staying still, and good on neither Greaves or Simcoe braking too late there and hitting him. That could have ended in tears. Honestly, it would unsighted.
Yeah, and this just helps Popovic get onto the back of other cars quicker in this race with more making mistakes. Gary Leach within 3/10 of Wolski at the moment. You've then got Malarex on the back of Broom.
Just pieced out from the rest of the field.
Really have. They've broken away from Peckman, who now is your bronze leader, and he'll be loving that down to the ground because he'll be pulling points, a lot of points over Cherry Moore. And where's Neil Broom? He's down in 13th, so a lot of points over Broom as well. But Gary is the only. Gary and Wolski out front are the only two really close together. What has happened to Steve Millington? Has he had I think Steve's had a disconnection.
Oh no. Oh,
so
boy.
Championship leader in silver has had a disconnection. Hopefully he can get himself back in to this race. But Steve has definitely had a disconnection because we're down to 22 drivers. And Steve is not there ahead of Argent. And the longer it takes Steve to get in, the longer he's going to be laps down. Don't forget, he can get back in to score points. But with drop scores running out week after week, and this race being times 1.5 points, you just feel for Steve Millington that this could really hurt his championship race in this one then. And what other gaps do we have? Simcoe still.
Sam Williams really deep again at that right-hander. Now loses a position to Stapley and Hunt. That's the second time he's done that. He's lost 2 positions on 2 occasions going deep at that corner.
And it's going dark quick here, Langley. We're only 9 minutes into the race, and the darkness is descending over this Indianapolis circuit here then.
Hunt.
And oh, look at this. Who's this behind? That's Taylor, sorry. And Johnson wheel to wheel at the moment. Hunt on Stapley, like you've just said, further forward. Hunt going to outbrake Stapley up into turn 1. Through, there you go. Back to Taylor and Johnson. Taylor brakes early and backs out of this at the moment. Popovic still the fastest lap of the race. Johnson goes deep though at turn 1. Taylor's going to come right around the outside of turn 2 to give him the inside line for turn 3. And Taylor gets that position done. Gary Leach has passed Wolski, so we've not seen where that's happened, and has already pulled 1.3 seconds clear of Wolski. So Leach has got that job done there. He's now going to head after the cars in front of him. Bettison keeping Peckman honest. Good race for Bettison here.
Hunt was off, and he lost a couple positions back to Stapley and Sam Williams. So a track that invites mistakes, and a Porsche going wide as well of Malarex could invite Broom to make a move at the end. It would be a bit of a lunge from there though. So, yep, sticks behind for now. And, this track, like you said earlier, very hard to hook up, especially consistently over a 90-minute race. Yeah. Invites a lot of mistakes, and we've already seen that early on.
Steve Millington is back in a lap down, and he'll go 2 laps down here in this one. So what a shame for Steve. It's just about trying to pick up any points he can. But Bettison's having a better showing already this tonight, isn't he, Lang? As he's looking a lot stronger in that Aston Martin here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I'm watching a fight between Andy Taylor and Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson getting the better of Andy there, going up the inside at that final chicane. And now another Porsche on the back of Andy is Keenan Stardog going onto the front straight, tucked under that rear wing of the McLaren. Has the slipstream down this main straight. The McLaren's superior in a straight line, but that slipstream helping out Stardog. Is he going to make a look up the inside into the braking zone? No, he does not.
Cherry Moore,
Andy goes really deep, and that's going to leave the door open for Stardog. It might even leave the door open for Dronelander round the outside, and then on the inside of this right-hander, we'll have the inside again. But Andy stays ahead and is hit around by the likes of Dronelander, who then spins out of sympathy after hitting Andy around.
I love that comment, spins out of sympathy, and that's going to give Cherry Moore 2 more places, who had a look on Mark Tucker as well. So Cherry Moore climbs up 2 more spots in this race, and Andrew Taylor's woes continue at the moment. Tannen Ebone out front from Mirko Ritchie, leading by 2 seconds here in this race, and the darkness has fully descended pretty much on this Indianapolis racetrack then. What a job from the front three, because Gary Leach has pulled 3.6 over Wolski. He's absolutely checking out from Wolski, and Origin has brought the gap down slightly. And I'm looking at the last lap times. Wolski at 39.3. The leaders, Gary was actually 7 tenths quicker than Mirko Ricci. Gary was the quickest last time around, bar Popovic, I think. No, Popovic did a 41. So, yeah, good stuff for the front runners. But Pettison trying to get onto the rear of Peckman. This is now Neil Broom, who has got a car between himself and Malarex, and that car is Michael Johnson trying to make his way through the field. And Cherry Moore with Greaves on the back of him and Tucker just in front. Cherry Moore really wants this championship, and he'll be trying his best to get a good result here out of this one. Ooh. As he's on the back of Tucker now. We know the grunt of the Mercedes-Benz down in a straight line. Let's go on board with Cherry Moore. Tucker just holding his own in the Lamborghini, and the Mercedes-Benz, he's going to have to do it on the brakes. And let's Tucker have that corner. Brakes a little bit earlier into turn one. There you go.
I'll tell you what, Peckman is quite a fan of these American tracks, isn't he? Absolute masterclass at Watkins Glen when it was pouring down rain. And now at P6 right now, caught my eye a little bit. He brushed the wall in the braking zone. Don't think it would have been too much damage. But Richard Bettison has had a woeful year in that Aston Martin. Running up in P6 right now. Hopefully he can hold it together, because I know how much he absolute despises that car this season. Probably will be making a switch next year. Actually, let me say will be, because that's how much he's talked down on it.
Yeah, compared it to the Formula One Aston Martin at the moment, except it doesn't shock him in this series. It is shocking. So Johnson has got ahead of Malarex, and so Johnson's moved up to P12 from the back of the grid, by the way. So good start for Johnson in this race. And Kieran did just dip under a second to Wolski. So Kieran coming now. It has dropped 5 degrees from qualifying to the start of this race on the track temperature. It is 15
Cherry
degrees
Moore's
out
having
there.
a look on Tucker again. Ooh, that's a bit tight. Yeah, Cherry Moore and Sam Greaves, I believe, had a run-in. Did not watch the replay, just kind of assuming that it happened. And they have their work cut out for them now. The pair of them cutting their way through this field. Luckily for them, there's not too many. If they can get by Tucker and dispatch of them pretty quick, they have a little bit of clean air to push into.
Sorry, Langley. Wolski, big slide coming into that infield, and he bounces off the curbs, and he's had a big twitch off. The bonus for him is he's kept it going. Argent's got to go the long way round as Wolski's car is dancing at Indianapolis. Argent's just got to be patient here and bide his time. Wolski looks at 6s and 7s at the moment through that infield section of the circuit. And now is Kieran Argent's chance to just try and be patient behind Wolski. This is Argent's problem, though. The lack of patience from him this season. Can he do it tonight?
I cannot believe you've snuck that in there, Mr. Jensen Button. I cannot believe you snuck that joke in there.
Well, it had to be done. Mirko Ricci, by the way, he's pulled 1.5 seconds back. So he's within 8 tenths of Tan and Ebo now. We're going to stick with the Argent-Wolski fight, because Wolski was dancing through that first sector, and he's gone a little deep. Coming into the final sector. Argent on the outside. Argent through. Kieran Argent up into P4. Well, for a man who says he should be on the podium most weeks, he's not far from it.
Yeah, he's not far from it. P4. And just needs a little slip up from that top 3 to claim it. And yeah, Mirko Ricci dropping 3 tenths in that final sector. But keeping Kneebone honest, this fight out front is Kneebone will pull the gap a little bit, and then Mirko Ricci will close it that next lap. So very close.
Tell you one man who's not at the upright, you know, who's got the best performance out of his car at the moment. Sam Williams down in 9th place behind the bronze leader in 2nd place, and Stapley, by the way, on the back of Peckman now for the lead in bronze. But Sam Williams just not able to hook that McLaren up around here at Indianapolis. So we've got the 186. That's Cherry Moore, who has retired from the race. It won't let me click him. He has gone once again, and Cherry Moore out of this race as Wolski attacks back on Argent. Can't do it there though.
Yeah, and that's going to really hurt his championship fight. And still watching this Wolski-Argent battle. Wolski tucked under the rear wing of Argent. Argent in the middle of the track. Wolski trying to make a look up the inside, but Argent in the middle of the track deterring it from happening. And yeah, that's going to make Cherry Moore's fight go from bad to worse,
Yeah.
and there's only one more drop score round. So it's looking poor at this
It's
point.
looking bleak, isn't it? Indeed. And
Yeah.
that gives Steve an extra position.
Wolski's really deep. They're both deep, actually. Wolski's taking a completely different layout of the last sector.
Oh!
That's a poor rejoin
Yeah.
on Wolski's part. He's gotta be more in control of his car there. Peckman, smart backing off, almost runs into the back, or gets run into the back from the Aston Martin of Bettison there. Now there's chaos down this front straight.
They're 3 wide further behind, and this is with Stapley, Hunt and Williams. Hunt is in the middle of this. Good evening to Yoshi, and thank you very much for the £2 donation, buddy. Amazing broadcast. He's saying thank you very much, Yoshi. You did a great job last night on the Who Darren Cup, as Stapley, who was running on the back of Peckman, has lost out to Williams. Might lose out to Hunt here. On the outside line goes Hunt around turn number 3. And has he got it done? Yes, he has. Hunt moves up the order. Hunt's won back-to-back sprint races at the moment. There's no sprint race tonight. It is just pure action. Wolski now. Bettison surely has to submit that, because that was a terrible rejoin from the Greasy Bandits driver.
I know what Wolski was trying to do, but it didn't work. It's what I'm trying to say. He tried to rejoin as safe as possible, but he just didn't get his car slowed down enough. And now Peckman looking up the inside of Bettison. Bettison later on the brakes, though, looking further down the field. We got a whole pack now of cars, of action. Mirko Ritchie still only 8/10 off the likes of Kneebone. Gary Leach and Kieran Argent almost in no man's land of their own. And then there's just this massive pack of cars that are squabbling it out for position.
Well, the last lap, Gary lost 1.6 seconds to Mirko Ritchie, and Ritchie getting closer to Tanner Kneebone. Bettison on the back of Wolski. What damage do they both have to their cars now, with Peckman, Williams? Then you've got Hunt Johnson, who's got past Stapley as well. So Johnson's moved into the top 10. Broome is down in 14th place at the moment. He's close to the back of Malarex. You've got Simcoe on the back of Greaves. You've got Dronelander P19 getting close to the back of Taylor, and Popovic is only 3 seconds off the back of them two. So Popovic bringing himself back into this race. Privet isn't far behind, and Steve Millington, as we know, he's laps down in this one. But Mirko Ritchie just trying to get that little bit closer in this race as we go through. 1 hour 11 minutes left to go in it. And Bettison so far up in P6. He's looking for that P5. Wolski doesn't have... We normally see Wolski have such a planted car. It is dancing tonight.
Yeah, Steve Millington has rejoined. Unfortunately, 3 laps down from competition. So he will gain a place off of Cherry Moore's retirement. But, yeah, we'll see. I think Popovic, if he can keep the pace up...
Cherry Moore has had to go personal matters, so that's what he's just put in the Discord. So it isn't due to an incident, it is a personal reason he's just put in the Discord. So what a shame for Cherry Moore, but family first and all that. But yeah, like you say, what a shame for Steve. It had to be a disconnection, surely.
Yeah, and has not had the luck the last few weeks, and that's just the ebbs and flows of a motorsport championship. And yeah.
Williams was a little deep going into the first braking zone in the last sector. That put Hunt just a little bit closer. And you've just seen how dark it is getting around this Indianapolis circuit. And Mirko Ritchie here, look at him. He's absolutely charging onto the back of Tanner Kneebone then. And 0.6 of a second. Gary's brought the gap down slightly. So what was the last lap times from Gary Leach? Was 0.7 quicker than Mirko, was a second quicker than Tanner, and Kieran Argent was also a bit quicker than the 2 ahead, but not Gary Leach last time around. Kieran is in no man's land, 5 seconds clear of Wolski. Wolski is almost becoming a bit of a train at the moment. Bettison within 0.7, Peckman within 0.9, Williams a second off of him, then Hunt, then Johnson, then Stapley. Bit of a train forming here behind that of Wolski at the moment, who just doesn't look as comfortable as we used to seeing him. Popovic within 1.1 now of Andrew Taylor. So he's starting to make his way back onto this pack, as Andrew Taylor looks like he's made a mistake, and he has, and Popovic won't have an easier overtake than that to make tonight, as Dronelander is also in the pits.
Sam Williams, yellow flag in the onto the back straight, keeping his word from what I asked him pre-race. I asked him, Sam, can we keep the car straight this week? He said, nope, tune in next week.
He did. I can vouch for this one. He did indeed. And yeah, so issue there for Sam Williams. That's dropped him down to P12 behind Keenan Stardog as Neil Broom's looking around the outside of Mark Tucker, and Neil Broom gets the job done on Mark Tucker. Lovely little overtake that for Neil, and Dronelander is into the pits as well. Steve Millington might be able to unlap himself here from that of Dronelander as he comes across the line. They'll both be 2 laps down, and Johnson now, who started dead last, 23rd in this race, is on the back of Hunt for P8 in this one. Johnson fighting for that driver of the day already.
Yeah, Mirko Ricci was really close across the line, closer than I think we both expected on that last lap, and he's keeping the pressure here on Tanner. And like I said, Tanner's main issue this season, and usually on ACC in general, is keeping the tires in a fresh / available to use window. So as the stint goes on, he's had trouble keeping tire life in that car. So we'll see what happens. And as it's going, is Mirko Ricci getting really close to the back of that BMW. I think we're in for a fight soon on this one.
Yeah, and the more these two start to fight and hold each other up, Gary Leach is only 4.4 behind, so it could start to introduce Gary into this fight. Hunter's got Johnson for company as well at the moment. Further down the field, Greaves has got Simcoe. Dronelander has done his pit stop. But Steve Millington, as Dronelander's leaving the pits, is now on the same lap as Dronelander. Steve, though, has to pit. Simcoe sticking with Sam Greaves at the moment. So your top 3 in bronze is Peckman, Stapley, then Malarex. So Broom will be hoping to close down on Simcoe in this one. Simcoe's really improved from last season. I must say, when we've seen him on the track, he looks like he's really improved and stepped up another level.
Well, it looks like he's actually racing now,
yeah.
Instead of just trying to make it around the track without interfering anyone. There is a big difference of actually racing a car and then just driving a car and trying to avoid people. And Dronelander, that's a massive penalty. Stop go 30 in the pit lane, so it could bring Steve Millington into play here. He's already unlapped himself once, I believe, on Dronelander, so he should unlap himself at least one more time.
I think he's actually on the same lap as Dronelander. I think when he comes to the line,
might be,
he'll be on the same lap as Dronelander. Not 100%
nope,
sure.
2 laps.
Yeah, 2 laps it's saying. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But yeah, I think it was like 79 seconds was the gap as Johnson's got past Hunt in this race. So Johnson's back through, and Wolski cannot shake Bettison at the moment. Bettison looks a different driver this week.
Looking really good in that Aston Martin. He'll probably say it's his skill and not the Aston Martin, because he will not want to give that car credit after this season. But yeah, he's having a really solid race out there, and I'm hoping for everything in me he just keeps the car pointing straight, because that's the issues he's had with this car this year. Just not a fan of how it handles through a stint. We've seen him start toward the front of the grid and the sprint races as well, and just not been able to keep it together, just because the not able to gel with the car like he was the Lexus last year. And you're right, Wolski not able to shake him, and both these cars not too shabby in a straight line. In fact, Wolski a little deep there. I think that was forced by Bettison having a look on the inside, trying to force his line, and even dipping a wheel into the dirt there was Wolski. Bettison might have a run onto the banking round the outside. That was almost brilliant there. But they're side by side down the front straight, and it looks like that Aston's pulling on the BMW a little bit. Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? Wolski a little deeper, but has he gone too deep, or has he kept it tucked in? He's kept it tucked in. Well, good racing from them two there. Oh my goodness, I thought Bettison was about to understeer into that outside wall there. He was so wide on the exit of the final corner.
Indeed. Let's take a look back at that then, provided this is doing what it should be doing. Why is it not working? And hopefully then, if I just press this button, it should just go and do it straight away and be able to put up that replay that we had just seen. If not, we'll come back to the last screen. It hasn't. For some reason, that isn't working tonight. So not sure what's happening there. We didn't get the replay to be able to show you that overtake. We'll try and get that sorted as this race goes on. But yeah, great little run from Bettison there on that outside line. Dronelander back in for that stop go 30. Where is Steve Millington? So probably now has unlapped himself. Popovic has moved ahead of Tucker. Oh, Privet, big snap, and loses the rear just as he was gaining on the back of Andrew Taylor. Popovic is now past Neil Broom as well, so he's moved up to 16th place, still with the fastest lap here. And Gary just can't close in on the front two. Mirko Ricci is as close as he's been all race. And he pulls out to have a look. Is this going to be braver on the brakes from Mirko Ricci in the old black Lamborghini? Looks up the inside, brakes early and tucks back in behind. I think he could have possibly sent that one there and had a bit more of an opportunity. Bettison, though, not as close this time around as he'd have liked. And Johnson, 6/10 off the back of Peckman at the moment. So Johnson really charging forward here, wants to keep that championship alive and well. And with Steve Millington having a bit of a shocking race, he could do just that.
Yeah, and Popovic is absolutely carving his way through the field right now. He's got Simcoe right ahead of him. The Ferrari, not the greatest car in a straight line, so he should have a decent run here into turn one. The Mercedes, man, had a drive-through to start this race and is trying to make the most of it. He's got his extra 30 minutes down right now, so we would be halfway through if it was a regular race, but we still have an hour left. Simcoe doesn't make it too much of a fight. And that's Popovic up another position. I think he has a great shout at a top 10 still in this race if he keeps his pace up. And that pack fighting up there, as I say that, Wolski and Bettison back side by side on the back straight. Bettison has the inside line and a bit deeper on the brakes. Wolski tries to hang it around the outside, nothing doing. And Bettison finally up on Wolski and into the top 5 in his Aston Martin tonight. A great drive so far.
And Wolski's efforts don't stop there, because he's now got to fend off that of Peckman and Johnson, who are right on the back of Wolski now. So he's still got to keep on defending. Wolski, normally we see him going under the radar and pushing forward as Johnson looks for a late lunge up the inside and gets it on Peckman as Wolski went a little deep. Johnson moves up into 7th place, and on the back of Wolski, what a move from Michael Johnson there. Let's try and get you that one then, and hopefully this time it works, and we'll see if we can bring you that replay to you in just a moment, because that was absolutely fantastic. For some reason it is not letting me press the buttons that I have assigned to get this replay working, so let's see if I've done it this time around on the replay feed itself.
Ooh, Michael Johnson and Wolski have run into each other. Johnson trying to send it up the inside at turn 1. Had great pace, was a bit too aggressive with that move. Wolski trying to close the door as well. 2 cars going into 1, and nightmares happening.
Nightmares happening for the both of them there then, and that is exactly as you just said. Johnson there, as we went back to the replay, and it did work the manual way, so I know that one works at least. But yeah, Wolski there, just a bit more damage to his car. He's still got Peckman to fight with here, and Tannen Ebo still 6/10 clear of that of Mirko Ricci. Gary's got the gap down now to 3.5 as Malarex has now lost out to Popovic. Popovic up into 14th place. Yep. Won't indeed, as Johnson just goes around the outside of Stapley at the penultimate corner. But Stapley here might try and fight him back. They're side by side down the start finish straight. Here comes Stapley, second in bronze at the moment. Stardog may fancy a piece of the action heading into turn 1. And look at the Aston Martin pull over the Porsche. Has the Porsche got better brakes? It has. Johnson looks to the outside. Little bit of hip and shoulder between the two. Johnson is through, and through goes Kiernan Stardog on Stapley. What a move from the Porsche driver. Opportunistic as you like. And that has put Stardog into P10. Yeah, and he's trying to get past Wolski at the moment. He's only 6 tenths behind, with Hunt a further 4 tenths behind him. Popovic is 6 seconds off the back of Sam Grieve. Sam Williams down in P12, not the race he'd have wanted at all. And how long will it take Stardog and Johnson and Stapley to get back behind that train of Wolski at the moment? Mirko Ritchie's got the gap back down to 4 tenths out front. They've extended their lead over Gary Leach. Him and Gary and Kieran Argent are literally just trundling around at this point. Gary is 5 seconds off the back of Mirko, but has a 12.6 second lead over Kieran. And Kieran's 12.6 behind Gary and was some 5 seconds, I think, clear of Richard Bettison. So they are just 8 seconds now clear. So they are just trundling around at the moment. And Wolski then is becoming that train. You can see in the background of Wolski there, look, there is Johnson, there is Starlog, there is Stapley. And Sam Williams isn't a miles away neither. Have we lost Langers? Can't hear him. That's because I've probably muted the wrong thing. No, Langers is still there. I just muted the wrong thing. So apologies. Thank you, Tony, for letting me know that one in the chat. But yeah, this is interesting stuff at the moment out front.
Yeah, and well, last time we had a 90-minute race, Gary had a pretty boring race as well for different reasons. Absolutely dominated around Kyalami. But we had so much action down in the middle of the field, just like we have tonight. I mean, this group of cars, Wolski, Peckman, Hunt, Johnson, Stardog, Stapley, Williams, all nip and tuck with each other, and just absolutely scrapping it out right now. And I think we're going to get this for this the rest of this now 57 minutes of racing. So
we're into that last hour of the race. Richie has been there or thereabouts with Tanner, but just cannot get close enough to have an opportunity to have a look at an overtake. And Tanner's driving a really good job at the moment. Gary's got the gap back down under 5 seconds to the 2 in front. Peckman loses out to Wolski a little bit in this final sector as the track will continue to drop and just get a bit cooler as this race goes on. We've had Simcoe and Dronelander complete their pit stops. And when will we see the rest of the field make their stops? Popovic up to 14th place, 6.7 off the back of Sam Greaves at this moment in time.
I think Hunt might have a run on Peckman here.
Yeah, I agree.
Very close out that final corner, and he's already looking to the inside, stating his intentions to go up the inside of Peckman. Is he later on the brakes? As he got the move done. First to the apex. Peckman tries to hold it round the outside, though. Will have the inside for turn 2, but it looks like it is job done for Hunt. Going into turn 3, and look at that. Opportunistic from Michael Johnson there. Up the inside of Peckman. Those two fighting, Hunt and Peckman up in front of them, and Johnson just picking up the scraps from that battle. Great opportunistic move from him.
I tell you what, I love Johnson in the Nissan last season. I'm loving Johnson even more in this Porsche. He has looked racy all season in that Porsche 992, and he's looking on the back of Hunt now, down the back straight. 7th in the championship. He is in this championship hunt here, is Johnson. Pulls out to the inside of Hunt. Later on the brakes, gets to the apex, runs a little deep on exit, but that's not going to matter. Thank you, mama, for the carrots, Michael Johnson. He's through another one. He's up to 7th.
He's already got 1 this lap, and now he's got 2, just like that. Michael Johnson up 2 places on this lap, picking up the pieces of the fights that are happening ahead of him, now setting his sights on Wolski ahead. Had that incident earlier with a bit of an aggressive move into turn 1. Now he's making up for it.
He is making up for it indeed, and we're watching the replay now of that overtake from Michael Johnson on Hunt as they come in towards the little left-hander at the triple chicane section. And what a move it was from Michael Johnson. As we come back to the live action now, it is Tanner Kneebone 4/10 of a second clear, but look at Peckman all of a sudden on the back of Hunt,
was a little wide.
having a look just into this start straight. Watch out though for Keenan Stardog, who pulls out on the pair of them. Here comes Peckman. Stardog breaks early, Peckman breaks early, and they stay as they was. Sam Williams pulling the trigger into the pit lane with 54 minutes to go. And Mirko Ritchie is now 1.2 off the back of Tanner Kneebone, so he's lost even more time in this race so far. But what a fight in the mid-pack here.
Very smart, sensible driving from Keenan Stardog, expecting the 2 of Peckman and Hunt to run into each other ahead of them. But in the end, the 3 of them, all very smart, keeping their cars intact, keeping their car under control. And yeah, this is just a generational scrap we have right now in this mid-pack. And Yeah, it has been something to watch tonight, to say the least.
It really has. As Stardog had another look there on Peckman, but can't get the job done down the back straights. They stay as they was. No other fights really happening out on circuit at the moment. And Gary has the gap down to 4.4. But Gary's gap has ebbed and flowed. It's come down, it's gone back up. Don't really know what's happening with Gary in this race. The question, I suppose, now is how long will it take Michael Johnson to get onto the back of Wolski? Because he's 1.2 off the back of him. And looking racy tonight is Johnson in this evening race. Darkness has fully descended now here at Indianapolis. And what a race this has been so far. Johnson just on the grass a little bit, back down to the Stardog Peckman fight. This is on board with Keenan Stardog coming through that final corner, holds a tighter line than Peckman and gets a heck of a run out the final corner. Pulls side by side with Peckman now. You imagine the McLaren will have the straight line speed over the Porsche, especially with that slipstream with the big BMW M4 just in front of it. But Stardog fully alongside, breaks in towards turn one. Peckman leaves the door open and Stardog cannot get through. He's going to try around the outside, can't again. So somehow Peckman holds on to this, but keep your eyes out. That is a slow car on the grass. Who is that?
Sam Williams.
It is Sam Williams.
Pitted.
Yeah. What has happened to Sam then?
I think he was trying to stay out the way, but no need when you're in the fight. Technically, I mean, a pit stop basically takes a full lap away, so he's still in the fight with these guys. Was no need to move out the way like that. It's not F1 blue flags after all.
Yeah, we don't need to be reminded of that one after the weekend that we experienced. But yeah, I know what you mean. But either way, this has been some race so far. And what a drive from Keenan Stardog. The Porsches look really good tonight.
Looking really good, and they've had their select tracks this season. Looked really good around Laguna Seca as well, didn't they? With the traction zones on that track. And this track in Indianapolis suiting the Porsche drivers. So, yeah, I mean, Johnson has absolutely closed that gap down on Wolski and is hunting down the BMW man. So we'll see if he has a look soon. That gap closing. Another fight down the rear of the circuit, and this is for the podium in bronze. Neil Broom gaining then on Malarex in this one at the moment as he's heading round into the final sector. Broom's Aston Martin, which also looks like another car going well in this race if you look at Betson up the order. But Sam Williams there, yeah, off the circuit now behind Stapley, so a lap down from where he was technically, and he's going to make that back up when obviously everybody else comes to pit. But he's got a long way to run in this race on the set of tyres. And Peckman's still looking racy on the back of Hunt. Peckman's now got closer to the back of Hunt than what he has and what Stardog was to him. Malarex into the pit, so that releases Broom free there. Sam Williams is the net pit leader. Doesn't mean he's the net leader of the race though, because he's down in 19th place, but will get, or should get past Malarex, or be closer to Malarex. You'd hope that him being lapped and being on the grass here hasn't cost him too much time. The car I keep looking at with this pack of cars of Hunt, Peckman, Stardog, Stapley, all fighting each other. The car I keep looking at every now and then just to see where he is. It's Popovich, yep. And he's just entered that back straight. Remember the last time I mentioned it, I said they were exiting the triple chicane. Well, they're exiting the triple chicane now, and he's at the end of the back straight. So he's gained that back straight's worth of time on this pack, and over this next 50 minutes, definitely something to keep your eyes on. Hunt's deep, and that's going to let Peckman through. Hunt deep at the chicane and the braking zone, and Peckman through and back up into 8th in this race, putting another car in between him and his closest bronze rival of Stapley.
And we've got Wolski and Mirko Ricci into the pits. Early pit stops for them two then. So Mirko, is he trying the undercut on Tan and Ebo? Depends on what Tanner's fuel is, as we say good evening to Paul Williams. Says Beto's having a storming race tonight. He might even start to like the Aston. Good that I missed tonight's race, guys. Yeah, hopefully you're well, Paul. From your message you sent me earlier, hopefully all is good. Dronelander is back into the pits, and he's now lost out to Steve Millington yet again.
Yeah, Sam Williams looks really quick. Remind you, he's in 19th, but he's on the back of these cars right now. And this is why I was saying you don't just let up track position this easily with the blue flag rules, because he's looking quicker than them right now, but the undercut's going to be proven useless if you're caught up in this traffic. And unfortunately, he's going to have to take these tires longer than everyone else around him. who hasn't pitted yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. And who is that into the braking zone right now? Is that Stardog? And yep, it was Stardog, and was it Hunt going side by side or Stapley?
Hunt side by side with Hunt, and they didn't change anything there. I've just had a look at something while you were saying that. You lose 83% of your lap here with a tyre change at Indianapolis. So huge for some of these drivers to get this done. So if you look at Sam Williams, he needs to get clear of these three in front of him if he's going to have any chance of getting that undercut on them. And the more he's sat in this traffic, the worse it's going to be. Wolski's just come out the pit lane. He has been lapped and has got Kieran Argent just behind him to put a lap on him. But obviously the top three yet to pit in this one. So where is Mirko? Mirko didn't do his pit stop!
Oh, wow.
So it's gone from bad to worse for Mirko Ritchie, and he hasn't done his pit stop.
And he has his windscreen wiper on. No idea why.
Oh,
oh boy.
Can you imagine if he's changed tyres there as well? He's had a 79-second stationary time, and now he's got to come back in and do it all again.
Yeah, he's got to come in, do it again, and at least put 1 liter of fuel in the car. That just means he didn't refuel the car, because changing tires is not a requirement. So he's put absolutely no fuel in the car on his pit stop, and now is pretty much at the back, and he was behind Privet there, you saw. So that's basically where he's running now, and this race is behind the likes of Privet. That's how big and how costly that was.
Oh, Hunt hitting the curb hard on the exit of the back straight, and that's just allowed Stardog to get a little bit closer. But Hunt good through the S's compared to the Porsche.
Kneebone's responded, but I don't think he realizes.
Yeah, I don't think he does either, because he's into the pit lane, and I don't think he's realised either. In this
Actually, he's going to find out right now, because he's going to pull right through the likes of Mirko Ritchie in the pit lane and realize, wait, why is he back in the pit lane?
Oh, Stapley's gone deep. Stapley's gone very deep, and Sam Williams went with him. Sam Williams has just lost a place to Simcoe as he's gone deep following that of Stapley, and he's off again. Sam Williams has now lost out to... sorry, that was another back marker. It's going terribly wrong for Williams here tonight. He has not had the rub of the green. Steve Millington into his stop.
Look at Stardog and Hunt. Hunt all the way to the inside wall to defend from Stardog. And can Stardog make this work round the outside into turn 1? But no, Hunt has the inside line. And Hunt is defending right now aggressively and trying to keep his position, because these Porsches already passed by Michael Johnson. And look at the gap between Michael Johnson and Mike Hunt.
Hunt wide though.
That is a massive gap.
Yeah, Johnson's just gone and Hunt is struggling here. Simcoe's looking to unlap himself from these two as well, as Simcoe's done his pit stop. And Wolski now, your net pit leader, is behind Argent, so he's let Argent go. Johnson's on the back of Bettison at the moment. So nearly into the back of Bettison as he misses his brakes there. Johnson is absolutely charging in this race. And Keenan Stardog pulls to the inside line. Greaves got past Stapley in the background as well after Stapley went off. And that is Stardog still stationary behind Hunt. And Bettison trying to fend off Johnson. Johnson's lost out a little bit now, though. And after Mirko Ritchie's pit stop, he's done it this time, but he's 12 seconds off the back of Malarex and down in 20th place. Dronelander has retired from this race as well.
That's a big shame. Man who was running comfortably in P2 tonight and having hopes at a win, was trying to get the undercut and just did not do his pit stop. Stardog pulls the trigger, trying to get the undercut on Mike Hunt. So and Bettison probably reactionary to the pace of Michael Johnson, who over the last few laps just absolutely started flying up on the back of the Aston Martin.
He has indeed. Let's take a look at the lap times here. Johnson, 5th fastest in this race at the moment tonight, behind Tanner, Gary, Mirko and Popovic. So kind of best of the rest at the moment. Kieran Argent is only 8th fastest out on this circuit tonight so far, in terms of best lap times, not in terms of current lap times, but Bettison, Stardog, Stapley all into the pits, as Neil Broom will get past one of his bronze drivers, and he leads that bronze category for the time being. But what a shame for Mirko Ritchie. If we thought Popovic had it all to do, Mirko Ritchie's got to do it all again. Popovic has pitted And he's got some damage on the rear of his car. Looks like he's had a bit of rear-end contact. He's on the back of what looks to be Hunt to try and unlap himself. And Popovich is going to go for this to unlap himself. No, he's not. Brakes a little earlier. Backs out of it. He's under pressure, though, from Simcoe, having a strong race with Sam Williams 4 seconds behind. So let's see what Popovich can do now. He's got some rear-end damage. Gary Leach into the pits.
Yep, Gary Leach into the pits, and that should be that Kneebone's now closest contender for this win. So we'll see what the gap is coming out the pit lane. Popovich is looking to dispatch of Hunt as quick as possible. Hunt should probably come in the pit lane any moment now. Very much struggling on those tires, and no, he's just still stays out. And yeah, I guess he's trying to defend to help his race with the cars around him. Popovich very wide on the banking there, onto the main straight, and will not have a run anymore. But yeah, we'll see what he can do now, Popovich. That gives you an idea of the gap, 22 seconds behind Peckman. And that's right around where that battle was happening. So we'll see how it evolves. And like you said, he had a clean car, but does look to have a bit of rear-end damage now. And this is just hurting him, not being able to clear Hunt.
The problem for Hunt here is he's defending from lap cars. He should really just let these go and try and follow them through. They've clearly got more pace as Popovich pulls out and has a look here. The lapped car trying to unlap himself by holding a tighter line on the inside. Well, he has unlapped himself now, and as much as Hunt may say, get out of the way, blue flags, Popovich will pull away from Hunt, I feel, in this stint. Now let's keep our eyes on Tanner Kneebone, who's up to 6th place. He's jumped Gary Leach. Yeah, he's well clear from Gary Leach in this one. So where's the closest driver then? It would have been Bettison, and Leach is off the limiter. Keep your eyes on Argent. It was about 12 seconds to Kieran Argent. And there's Wolski, look, on the back of Bettison. Wolski's actually closer to Bettison now than what he was before the pit stops.
Yeah, we'll see what this gap is at the first sector line. If I had to take a guess, I'd say about 10 seconds or so. Maybe more, actually. 10 seconds is right around the gap it was. But now Kneebone under no pressure. Oh no, that's Michael Johnson with a stop-go 30 and an absolute brutal penalty now, and that is going to absolutely wreck his race.
That is heartbreaking to see from Michael Johnson there, who's had such a good race as well. And he gets the stop-go 30. Popovich has got ahead of Sam Greaves in the pit lane. So Popovich back up another position. So that puts him up to 14th, because he's also passed Neil Broom, and he'll get Michael Johnson in the pits as well. Hunter's now stopped. And Tanner Kneebone, 3.8 off the back of Andrew Taylor. And the gap to Gary Leach is 9 seconds. So yeah, you pretty much called that one there, great. Good job.
Yep. And all Kneebone needs to do now is not do what his former teammate did and have enough fuel in the car, and also not do what his current teammate does and keep the car pointing straight.
Well, speaking of his current teammate's just inherited a podium because of Mirko Ricci's double pit stop. So he's just got to bring this home now, because he's nowhere near close enough to Gary Leach. And he's got such a gap behind as Betson's coming under pressure from Wolski. Rob the Elite says, I want to race. Make sure you head over to the Discord.
I'll pop the link.
There you go. Langley's going to pop the link in the chat for the Discord if you want to check anything out. Make sure you do complete your welcome message. Oh, it is important you do that if you want to take part in any races here at SimPlay Motorsport. And here comes Betson under pressure from Wolski at the moment. And can now Richard Bettison stay ahead? Well, he's got ahead of Privet and he's got ahead of Hunt. So that puts Bettison back up into P6 with Tucker and Taylor still to pit in this race. Kieran's actually 8 seconds to Gary, so Kieran's gained time on Gary. Do we think Gary's taken tyres and maybe Kieran hasn't?
It'd be a risk. It'd be a big risk not to take tyres, even in these cooler conditions. I will say, what is the rule, Matt? We don't allow any new drivers for the last, 2 or 3 races of the season?
It's the last 3 races, so it will be for next season, Rob. But get yourself involved in the Discord. There'll be fun events coming up you can take part in. Subscribe to the channel. Keep your eyes around for next season. Unless it is for Who Darren Cup, we may allow some entries for Who Darren Cup because numbers have been a little low for that. As Popovich is on the back. In fact, no, he's not. He's cleared that of Stapley, so he's moved up into P11 now with 2 drivers who he was already ahead of on circuit in Taylor and Tucker. Popovich will be in the top 10 here, so great comeback drive from him.
Yeah, and Gary's closed that gap down just a little bit. 4/10 this lap. We'll keep an eye on it. He's come out the pitch charging. I don't think you want to get too comfortable if you're Tanner right now, you still want to put the foot down as much as you can. And as I say that, he does extend the gap by 3/10 in that final sector. So, yeah, don't want to get too comfortable at this point in the race.
No, you don't, as Wolski's made a mistake going into that final sector once again. So he's lost that bit of time to Richard Betson.
Edison, P4.
Yeah,
P4 after a wretched season he's had.
That'll give him confidence
Absolutely
going into
amazing.
these last 3 races as well, Langley.
Yep, and he definitely will be changing car next season. But, I mean, it shows you the pace he had. We saw it so many times last season. It was a normality for him to take pole in the bronze class by over a second. It was a normality for him, and the Aston just not been his car this season, but he's been a top driver on his night, and he is proving it tonight.
He really has, as Mirko Ricci was 8/10 off the back of Neil Broom, and Neil Broom was half second off of Malarex, but that, in fact, Malarex and Ricci's both got past that of Malarex, and they're going to get Tucker in the pits. Will Assetto Corsa Evo in the future? Nothing at the moment. I think we've got to wait for Assetto Corsa Evo to evolve and develop a little bit more as them 3 get past Tucker. Tan and Ebone on the back of Andrew Taylor. Now, great to see Andrew Taylor lead a race. It's been a while since we've seen him out front. So well done, Andrew. We'll give you some screen time. There you go. You've led a lap on SimPlay. He is about to lose it, but he's led a lap. We'll let him have his moment. Dean Masaki will be proud of that one for you, Andy, there. Simcoe gaining on the back of Stapley with Sam Williams down in 13th. Bad result for Sam. Unlucky for Steve with the disconnection early on. But Sam in this championship hunt did not need this tonight.
And Popovich is already back in this top 10. Yeah. After these pit stops have cycled out a couple drivers with penalties, and he's only 2.8 off of Stardog, who has dropped off the back of Hunt. Not sure what's happened there. I don't remember a 9-second gap from the back of Stardog to Hunt. But yeah, he's catching on Stardog now himself. Still has the fastest lap of this race. Has been
lovely move.
Far and away.
Sorry, Langley, lovely move there. He has just pushed Neil Broom off wide as he twitched, but Mirko Ricci up and under at the exit of the triple chicane had a twitch that pushed Neil Broom off wide, sadly, but not a lot in that for me. That's good racing, and what a move from Mirko Ricci there. Absolutely beautiful from him. And look at Simcoe running in 12th on the podium in bronze at the moment, trying to get that second place in bronze.
They're trying to get second place in bronze, who is right now occupied by the likes of Stapley. And look at these gaps. I mean, we've gone an hour through racing, and we still have 3/10 between second and third in bronze, and then another 4/10 to the car right behind him and Sam Williams.
And Greaves
has to get another massive scrap here.
And Greaves is not 1.3 seconds behind Sam Williams. Let me tell you, that is a bit closer than 1.3 as Stapley goes defensive into the left-hander on the infield part of this Indianapolis track. Simcoe very, very wide to not turn in on Stapley. Does he have the inside line? He's made it very tight for himself. Does he get the exit? Does Sam Williams think of getting the pair of them? They're 3 wide on the back straight. Sam Greaves can just sit and watch and maybe hope what will happen here. Stapley stays ahead of Simcoe. Sam Williams, though, right around the outside of Simcoe and Stapley. Wow. What a move from Sam Williams. Stapley and Simcoe off, and Greaves gets 2 spots as well.
Wow, what a move from Sam. Is patient in the loop part of this track, holds his car to the left, does the up and under on both cars, and claims the positions round the outside while the other 2 are running into each other in his mirror.
Crazy stuff there then. Can Neil Broom get on the back of Simcoe and Stapley in this one? Peckman in 7th place could be running away with this bronze championship tonight. Obviously, drop scores will end next week after Imola. And Andrew Taylor has now lost out to Tan and Ebo. And he's got Gary Leach 6.5 seconds back. But Andrew Taylor still to pit in this race. Going deep in this one is Andrew Taylor to see what he can do. But what a move from Sam Williams there. And Stapley now will be trying to keep fending off Simcoe. Simcoe just unlucky with Stapley in that one. But what a scrap nonetheless. Mirko Ricci 9 seconds off the back of Simcoe and Stapley. That'll take him a lap or 2 to just get on the rear. Peckman, by the way, under a second now to Wolski. Wolski is just struggling in this race tonight. He has not looked his formidable self.
Yeah, and Peckman has absolutely cleared the bronze field at this point. His next closest rival is Stapley, and that is probably a good 20 seconds behind the likes of Peckman, if not more. Actually,
Yeah.
I think it is more. I think it's more than 20 seconds. So, absolute class drive from Peckman tonight. Not only looking on Wolski, but Betterson's only 3.5 up the road. And Peckman's running net P6 already.
Yeah.
So this will be for P5 if he can get by Wolski.
I think he will get past Wolski, to be fair. Wolski just hasn't looked his normal self here tonight. And like you say, there's Michael Johnson just in front of them, who's a lap down as the lights twinkling down the start straight. Oh, Peckman jinked there. That made Wolski make another move. Peckman bounces off the wall on the start line. Shouldn't have done too much to the car there. And it keeps going in the right direction, but yeah, Wolski's just got to be careful there. He'd already made his move to defend and then had another little jink, so just got to be careful on that defensive manoeuvres.
Yeah, I think Peckman did it on purpose to try to bait out a second move and try to make Wolski go deep. So smart driving, besides driving into the wall by himself. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, like you said, have to be a little bit careful on the defensive moves. Make one move to the middle of the track and then hold that line, basically, and that should be your defense.
Swindlemax just said, I've missed a bunch still at work, but that was a great time to tune back in. As
Peckman's gone way off.
He has indeed. He's got 9 seconds back to Hunt, so should be able to get back on. And Stapley's got back ahead of Sam Williams here. So what has happened to Sam Williams?
My camera angle for that made him look like he was going like first stop into the nearest barrier. Because how fast he went off the track.
Well, I don't know what's happened to Sam Langers, but Greaves has passed him, so has Stapley. So Sam back down to 13th. Andrew Taylor now pits. So Gary 7.7 behind Tanner. Kieran 9.8 behind Gary. Well, he can't tell me he should be on the podium every week if he gets a podium tonight, can he? Hey?
Gary's closed that gap a little bit. 7.7.
Yeah.
Keeping it respectable.
Keep your eyes on it, because I think Gary, we've seen Gary come on strong as the race has gone on throughout races in the past. For some reason, the SimBot isn't working. Oh, no, it's just popped back up now. So Gary's last lap. Gary actually lost a second last lap, so interesting to see. And I'll tell you what, Betson actually was 1.1 quicker than Kieran Argent. Kieran had a stinker of a last lap. 39.2. So maybe a mistake there for Kieran Argent. Taylor's exiting the pit lane now as Stapley, Williams and Simcoe get past, where Richie's now just past him, and here comes Broom and Malarex. They'll also get past Taylor. Tucker will as well, so I think Taylor will come out just ahead of Privet, who's a lot further back. He's a lap down to actually that of Gary Leach and Tanner Kneebone. Gary's pulled that gap open to Kieran to 10.5 seconds. Betson running P4. He's a bit further back. But Wolski's not really gaining on Betson here, is he? It kind of stayed around that 3.9 seconds.
Yeah, kind of stayed around that 3.9 second mark. And, I mean, like I said, if you followed along Pro-Am this season, Bettison's been toward the back of the silver class in terms of points and championship standings.
Yeah.
He's had it was not like him to ever retire from a race when he was in the Lexus, and he's had a couple of retirements this season just because of how bad he's gelled with that Aston Martin. So to see him running a net P4 or P4, talk about net P4, he is P4, running P4 right now. He hasn't even been this high when he was running on with a Lexus, so it's been a great drive so far tonight from him.
And this tonight should really pump him up over the likes of that of Drone Landeroo. He's only 9 points behind. He's only some 15 points behind Andrew Taylor. Bounce the Limiter's not here. Sturrock's not here, so he could really sort of climb himself up into that 17th place in the championship. So we'll have to see what he can do in this one then. But yeah, like you say, so far it's been pretty good from Betson. Gap's just all spread out a little bit now, and Betson has actually pulled a 10.
Tanner's overdriving his car. Tanner's losing time to Gary, and this gap's coming down a lot quicker than he'd like. He's overdriving his car.
Well, last time around, Gary did do a 36.9 to Tanner's 37.8. We'll see what they do this time around as the SimBot updates. But yeah, like you say, Tanner just losing time to Gary Leach. 6.2 now the gap, still 29 minutes left, so that's 6.2. If Gary starts chipping away a couple of tenths a sector, will slowly become a fight for position as Simcoe's got past Williams now for P12. So what is happening to Sam Williams out there?
Yeah, and just not the night for him, is it? And remember, he's already pitted near half an hour ago.
Yeah.
So his tires won't be in the best shape toward the end of this race as well.
And he's got a very fast Mirko Ricci, only 4.2 seconds behind him. So, you know, he's got a bit of work to do to keep that Lamborghini of Mirko Ricci behind. And he's lost time to Simcoe here. So Simcoe pitted before him as well. So, you know, Simcoe's tyres shouldn't be in that too good a shape either. Through the first sector, and Gary has pulled back another couple of tenths. The 63 of Privet is off, and he's back on track now. Looks like he's possibly got some damage to the front of that BMW as we wait for the camera to pan around. Yes, he has. Bit of damage to the front of that car. But yeah, Gary's just pulled another couple of tenths through Sector 1. And what has he done through Sector 2? Has he just chipped away a little bit more? Is that gap now under 6 tenths? It is. He's pulled another tenth back. So Gary Leach just chipping away at this time of Tanner Kneebone. So if Tanner is overdriving, he needs to calm that down. Popovic on the back of Keenan Stardog now, 7 tenths of a second. And Popovic looking for a top 8. Could he be on for a potential top 5 in this race?
Top 5 be a stretch. That's still 15 seconds or so out from where he is now. Top 7, though, I think is definitely a lot more viable. It's a safer choice, let's say that.
Yeah. Well, last time around, Gary was a tenth quicker. Sorry, was 3 tenths quicker than Tanner. So Gary has just chipped away a bit of time. Could do with a little bit more than 3 tenths to get that gap down. Kieran Argent, his time hasn't updated yet from the last lap on the timing screen in front of me. But looking at Popovic, 6 tenths quicker than Stardog, 2.1 quicker than Hunt, 2.1 quicker than Peckman, and was some 8 tenths quicker than Wolski. So, you know, 27 minutes, depending on how long it takes him to get past these cars, it could be possible. Simcoe's got Simcoe's got Williams pretty close to the back of him for 12th and 13th. Privet back into the pits. That's given Johnson 19th place. Could it give Millington an extra spot as well? Remember, the points for tonight's race is times 1.5 the normal points. And if we move forward with more 90-minute races next season, I think we're going to get rid of them 0.5s, round up maybe, instead of the 0.5 points. But we'll see what will happen. And if you're interested in what's happening with the shuttle, the second door is not shut yet, but there is still 1 hour 31 minutes till the launch, so they've still got time to shut the door. You know, just a little bit of time to close the door. And Sam has lost that time once again. He just hasn't got closer. He's now 7 tenths back from Simcoe, so just cannot find a rhythm. Gary's pulled another 3 tenths in the 2 sectors we've seen so far. Has he pulled any more in the final sector? Let's take a look. No, he's lost a second. So he's made a mistake somewhere in that final sector as Gary Leach there. So yeah, I think Tanner's got this one nailed on. It's going to take a monumental effort to lose that one. And Wolski's got the gap down from 4 seconds to 1 second to Richard Betterson all of a sudden.
Only 1 second in it, and honestly, since Popovic has caught the back of Stardog, Stardog's picked up the pace just a little bit, but Popovic does look that little bit closer now this lap, only half a second going into the final sector. Keep an eye on it. The Mercedes definitely a better car than that Porsche in a straight line, so we'll see what he has on these next this front straight and the back straight. But yeah, good response from Tanner, whether that was with a Gary Leach mistake or not. Good response from him. Pull that gap back out, 6.6.
Just on board with Popovic here. His bonnet's just bouncing around, so he's got a bit of front end damage as well, but really closes into Stardog through turn 1 and turn 2. As Michael in the chat says, if we compare car builds from the leader to each player, are each player using unique configuration, or are they popcorn builds?
Not sure what a popcorn build is,
yeah,
I'll be honest.
I'm not quite sure what you're on about. Either way,
it's
every BMW
it's whatever car you want, and it's whatever car you want, and it's whatever setup you want.
Simcoe's
basically
back into the pit lane, so he's down to 18th place. So as he underfueled with pitting early, Simcoe back into the pits.
Sam Williams?
Possibly so. I wonder if he's thought it's an hour's race, you know, and fuel too light and not put enough in at the pit stop. That would be a huge mistake. As Popovic within 4 tenths. Wolski got the gap under a second a moment ago. Gary's back down to 5.4, so has chipped away at the time
So, ebb and flow.
Are they cookie cutter, says Michael. Still not sure what you mean in there by cookie cutter. But Popovic really close to the back of Keenan Stardog now onto the start straight. Oh, sorry, into the last sector they go. Stardog just grazed the wall a little bit there. And this is going to bring Popovic closer.
Yeah, and will Popovic be able to make a move here? Now, going on to the front straight, the Mercedes much better in a straight line, but that Porsche out that final chicane just so good on the traction. Pulls the gap under acceleration onto this straight, and actually, if anyone's catching anyone, it's Stardog catching Hunt.
It is at the moment, so we'll keep our eyes on that because Hunt is coming into play now as Simcoe has just exited the pit lane behind these two, so that promotes the likes of Taylor, Tucker, Malorex, Broom and Sam Williams and Michael Johnson actually as well. So Johnson gains another place there at the moment. Does each player use the same car configuration, or does each player use their own math configuration with modifications to tuning of the cars? Yeah, every player will set up the car to their own configuration and how they feel it will go. Some may use the same setup as others, but realistically everybody will try and get the car dialed into how they feel. This is the closest fight on track though between Stardog and Popovic. Hunt is only 2 seconds up the road. That is Simcoe behind, who's a lap down. And Gary's got the gap down to 3.7 seconds now.
Goodness.
So he is really taking some time out of Tanner Nebo.
Yeah, Tanner's just way overdriving the car. I guarantee you he's looking at that gap lap after lap, and he's... it's just not how you drive. He's driving in his mirrors right now, and he's
taking tyres. I'm going to be honest here. He's lost 1.8 seconds on the last lap. So he's either made a mistake or he's not taken tyres. But Gary over 2 laps has took a big chunk out of that.
I'll be honest, because 1.8 is not worth tyres. I'll be honest.
We'll wait and see. We'll probably ask him at the end of the night, won't we, when we go in. But Gary at the moment is the only man lapping in the low 137s. Everybody else is in the 38s. Interesting. Let's see what happens in this race. Gap down to 3.2 now. When you think about it, actually, tyres have now done 1 hour 8 minutes. So if Tanner hasn't changed tyres, they're 1 hour and 8 minutes old. They go roughly an hour. With these cooler conditions, maybe last a little bit longer before dropping off. But yeah, it'd be interesting to keep our eyes on and see what they do. Don't forget, if you are new here, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the bell to be notified when we are live. You will not want to miss tomorrow night, 8 PM BST, GMT +1 for those now that the clocks have gone back an hour. Pro night around Indianapolis. The pro drivers will take to it, and the weather forecast looks phenomenal. It is going to be a spicy margarita for sure. You may want to pull out the beers for that one. As Gary Leach now under 3 seconds to Tanner Nebo. It's 2.7 as they go through the start-finish line. Could Gary be on for back-to-back 90-minute race wins here?
Yeah, that's why I didn't agree with you when you said this is all over. He had it covered. You only said that from 5 minutes ago, and that's the thing with this race. It's just that extra 30 minutes provides us that extra 30 minutes of action out on track. Can Popovic finally get this move done here on Stardog? Stardog, though, still closing in on Hunt.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that gap's down to 1.4, and I think Hunt bounced over the curb a little bit, so it might be even less at the line now.
Well, I've just dropped down the order a little bit more. Mirko Ritchie has got ahead of Sam Williams by 2 seconds, and he's on the back of Stapley, with Stapley chasing down that of Sam Greaves. Forever Forward could jump ahead of 4Q Motorsport in the Teams Championship tonight. And Gary Leach 2.3. Last lap, Gary took exactly a second out of Tanner Nebo. Kevin Argent even managed to be back in the 47s here. It was half a second quicker than Tanner. So whatever Tanner's doing, it is not working at the moment. But the gap 2.3. Here comes Mirko Ritchie, though. About to get... He's got a great run off the final corner on the back of Stapley. Pulls now to that inside line, the all-black Lamborghini. Thankfully, he's got the green strips on the side for the auxiliary lights and sends one up the inside of Stapley. Stapley gives him the room, and through goes Mirko Ritchie, back up into 11th place.
Back up into 11th, and 10th, not that far up the road. So, yeah, it could be still on for a top 10 here. Now, 9th place, that's a different story. That's well up the road. That's almost... We'll get the gap at the sector line here, but it feels like 20 seconds or so.
Oh, not far.
Oh, hey,
not
18
far,
seconds.
Langley. Look at you. Check you out. Not far, is it? You're bang on there. Near enough. But yeah, Mirko Ricci as well is flashing the lights at Sam Greaves. He made his own mistake. Did the double pit stop. Didn't do his correct pit stop first time around. So he made that mistake and he's having to damage limitate himself in this one. Gary Clarble, sorry to have pulled out. Issue with my son. Yours to lose now, Peckman, says Cherry Moore. Hopefully he's okay, Gav. And hopefully everything's all right. There is Stardog's within a second now of Hunt, and Popovich has fell off the back of Stardog a little bit. Stardog just pushing them.
Popovich is wide. Oh my goodness. Popovich was way wide onto the banking there, and the lap car of Simcoe gets through. Almost hit the wall, was so wide into that one.
He was indeed, and they're just pushing the track limits. I know you get a track limit warning or at least a no time gained over that white line, so they're just pushing it a little bit. We've not seen actually a drive through 4 track limits yet tonight, so fair play to the drivers after an hour and 12 minutes of racing. But Gary Leach 2.2 seconds, 18 minutes to go, and they've got a little bit of lap traffic. The 99 of Andrew Taylor and the 23 of Mark Tucker just up ahead of them in this one. But this is the Stardog and Hunt fight. Mirko Ricci's now on the back of Sam Greaves. Still, that's the closest fight on track at the moment. Interesting to see what's going to happen in these final moments. Tanner's just pulled 3/10 out from Gary. And there is a yellow flag. That is the 63. And who is the 63? That's Privet again. Just struggled a little bit tonight. And he's going to go. Steve Millington's actually going to unlap himself from Privet here now. And that's going to put Privet now onto the same lap as Steve Millington. Back to Stardog and in fact back to Greaves and Ritchie.
Ritchie might have a move on Greaves here. Nope, not into that braking zone, but Ritchie putting the pressure on Greaves and coming back in this race. I like later in the season, Matt, where you call out a car number and I just know what it is right off the top of my head. Can't wait for that to be wiped away next season when we start all over again.
And when we look at the liveries and they've all changed again and everybody's changed cars and drivers have new or come down from pro, and that'll be fantastic. As Greaves deep,
a little
very deep. Yep. Ritchie's going to look to the outside and he's through.
Wow, he's got it done. Wow,
great move from Mirko Ricci. Fantastic stuff from the Italian. Moves himself back up into the top 10. Popovich has lost 2 seconds to Stardog, so his tyres may be cooked in this one. Wolski now within 8/10 of Bettison, and Gary's got the gap back down to 2 seconds in this race at the moment. So Gary Leach gaining on the race leader into the final 16 minutes here, Gray.
Yep, gaining, and if Tanner wants to make it a special occasion, he's going to have to fight for this one.
He is indeed, and we'll see what that fight could mean at the end of this race for Tanner Kneebone. But Gary, who's not been in this race really from the start, is now under 2 seconds to Tanner Kneebone. Gary, 2-time pro champion back at the very first 2 seasons of Project Cars 2. Bearing in mind, when I say first 2 seasons, I mean nearly 6 years ago for Gary Leach. Has fallen down the ranks into the Pro-Am category. Now looks like he's starting to get back to some good form here. And this is going to be interesting to see. Stardog on the back of Hunt. Wolski on the back of Bettison. Greaves still on the back of Mirko. Williams on the back of Stapley. Fights just starting to develop in this race.
Fight starting to develop, and the biggest one of all is out front. 1.8 seconds now, 1.9 seconds at the sector line. 15 minutes to go in this one, and it is up for the taking. It could be anyone's race here.
And the worst thing is, as Mirko Ricci hits the wall hard there, Andrew Taylor is gaining on Tucker, and they are right ahead of the race leaders. Privet is off again at the final corner. What a shame for him. That'll allow Steve to just get that little bit closer for Steve Millington now. And if he's got a pit, that could allow Steve to gain another place in this race. And that's why you don't retire from the races, because you can get them positions back. As here comes the leaders. In fact, here comes Tucker and Taylor as well to gain on Privet. Privet's still not yet going. At the moment, he's still stationary and will lose out to Tucker and to Taylor and will be lapped by the leaders as well. He may even lose out to Malarex here. But the leaders, their gap's now 1.8. What will it be at the start line? But Tanner will be getting nervy now seeing these two getting closer together for a fight, because he'll want to get clear of this traffic as soon as possible.
Yep, and 1.6 now at the line, and start to feel those nerves creep in. I think it's already been crept in for a few laps now. He's almost feeling the inevitable, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on, I was leading this race by 10 seconds. Might have gotten a little too comfortable when he was already that far out front, and now he's had to put the foot down a little bit again, and he's had to keep his wits about him, watching these two fight in front of him. He's going to want to get by, but he doesn't have such an outright pace advantage at the moment, because, as you know, Andy was the last one to pit, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see indeed. Greaves has got back ahead of Mirko Ricci. That is now the closest fight on the circuit. So Greaves doing a heck of a job ahead of Mirko. So did Mirko make a mistake somewhere? So he's got the job to do to re-overtake. Taylor getting closer to that of Tucker. And, I mean, not that I can see the stewards or the marshals, sorry, waving the blue flags, but I am not noticing any at any marshals posts that we see at the moment. So not noticing any blue flags being waved so far. Although Taylor had a look on Tucker. Tucker defends that inside line. That's just going to hold them. And that's
going to blow Kneebone down a lot.
Yeah, that's also going to have delayed Tanner a little bit. Gap's already down to 1.4. That could be even closer.
If I were him, I'd be flashing like
crazy,
mad right now.
Yeah. They've surely got to be showing the blue flags. Now, there is the first blue flag I've seen. And will Taylor move out the way, or is he going to think of trying to get a run on the Lamborghini down in towards turn 1? Well, here comes Tanner Kneebone, pulls out of the slipstream. Gap is 1.4 seconds. Is this going to be Tanner Kneebone to get ahead of Andrew Taylor, who's a lap down? Yes, it is. And that is crucial for Kneebone now. He's now got to clear Tucker. And how quick will Taylor get out of Gary Leach's way?
Yeah, and Tucker's not getting out of the way of Tanner immediately, but neither is Andy getting out the way of Gary Leach. And this fight all of a sudden is just coming down to the wire. 12 minutes left now, and Andy is out the way, but Tucker is not.
Yeah, Gary's gone very deep in the process. Gary looked like he was very aggressive to lap Andrew Taylor there. Nearly dropped the rear of the car, and that has helped Tanner Kneebone out no end. Wolski's back within a second of Bettison, and Peckman...
Tanner flashing his lights, yeah.
Peckman's on the rear of Hunt, so Hunter's got past Peckman, and he's bringing Stardog with him. And look at Simcoe. Fresh tyres, fresh bit of fuel. And he's all of a sudden trying to unlap himself as here comes Keenan Stardog to that inside line of Peckman then, who's just going to lose out points here towards Stapley, and Broome in this race loses out. One more spot and clips the back of Stardog as well. And that'll allow Simcoe to unlap himself. And you don't want to get caught up with a back marker as Simcoe drops a wheel onto the grass and Peckman stays in front. But that gap now between Gary and Tanner, 1.8 seconds. So Gary didn't lose too much. And they... Oh, he has now. He has now, because he's gone right off at the braking zone.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a big-time loss. We'll see what the gap is at the line now. But, yeah, I think Tanner got held up by Tucker in that middle sector still at the triple right hand, or the triple chicane. So we'll see what this gap is now. 11 minutes left. What is the gap to chase down? 3.5 seconds. Gary's already done it once. Can he close that gap down again? The lap traffic has worked out in the favor of Kneebone here, but Gary's had the pace over this last half hour, so will it continue to be like that? Gary's tires are now very dirty. We'll keep an eye on it.
We will keep an eye on it as Peckman has lost out to Stardog. He's got Popovic not a million miles away behind. Popovic looking for that top 8 in this race, who's had a good comeback drive for Popovic here tonight. And we'll see what he can do in this one. Stardog 9/10 off the back of Hunt. That is the closest gap on circuit at this moment in time. So we'll see and keep our eyes on what will happen there then. But you have to say, so far, Peckman has just started to struggle as this race has gone on. Popovic has put that lap on Stardog. On Simcoe, sorry. And Gary Leach has got the gap down already to 2.7 seconds. So Gary is charging over Tanner Kneebone at the minute.
Yeah, and they have a bit of clear track now. Next lap car is the likes of Neil Broome, who is exiting or going through the final corner right now. So just a couple corners ahead of Tanner. I would say about 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds or so ahead. So yeah, if that isn't pushed into for the rest of this race, they shouldn't have any more traffic.
Well, he's taken another good chunk out of Tanner Kneebone there, 'cause it's down to 2.2 seconds. Is Tanner overdriving this, or is it tyres? That's going to be the biggest question to keep our eyes on. It's now 2 seconds.
The reason I say this is driving with Tanner, I just never would see Tanner as being someone who doesn't take tires. Even when he was told to not take tires, he still tended to take tires. That's why I just can't really see it being him not taking tires. And it might also be Gary doesn't practice much for these races, and he's getting used to the track. He's getting the quicker lines at this point in the race. He's had an hour's 20 minutes practice now, and he'll need all that practice for this last 10 minutes.
Well, he will indeed. Gap's down to 1.7. So Gary has taken 3 more tenths out of him in that first sector alone. He is on his way. Popovic within 8 tenths of Peckman. Mirko Ricci within 6 tenths of Sam Greaves. Looks a little bit closer than that as well, breaking into the last heavy braking zone on the circuit. And is this... Oh, Greaves a little wide. Mirko holds it tighter. Is this now Mirko's chance to maybe have a run here at Sam Greaves? Let's wait and see. Down in towards turn 1. Another 3 tenths taken out by Gary Leach this time around. So gap could be around about a second as they get to the line. We'll wait and see. But at the moment, so far so good. If you are that of Gary Leach in this, of Tanner Kneebone in this race at the moment, with 8.5 to go. And Mirko didn't get past Popovic, so has passed Peckman and has passed Stardog. So what has happened to Stardog? Just seen him drop down 2 places.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but Popovic up to 7th after the woeful start he had. Proves what you can do in these 90-minute races.
Gary lost a 10th over the line, so Gary seems to be struggling in that final sector, but good through 1 and 2. And this could be crucial at the end of this race. Mirko Ricci still on the back of Sam Greaves for 10th place in this one. Peckman on the back of Popovic still. Can Stardog find that momentum to get back ahead of Peckman? Simcoe there. Simcoe's running good pace at the moment. Keep sticking with this field. What is the gap through sector 1? It's actually gone up to 1.7. So has Gary made another mistake somewhere? It's actually gone up to 1.7. 7.5 minutes left. Great. I'm going to get the driver of the day poll up.
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, Tanner has absolutely dominated this race. We haven't really seen a drive like this out of Tanner Kneebone since probably Pro-Am a couple seasons ago around Monza, where he took the feature race win on track. He's put some hours in at Indianapolis. Now his task is just keeping it together. 1.7 at that first sector line, but only 1.3 now at that second sector line. Gary struggled a little bit in this final sector, but we'll see what it is at the line. Only 6 minutes to go, just a few laps now. Oh, this is amazing, and this is why I love these 90-minute races. This is nerve-wracking. Even as commentators, you just can't help but hold your breath to see what happens in these final few moments.
Well, is this a bit like the Denver Broncos season last season, where it all fell apart at the very end? Or could it be a good, I'm not going to say a dominant victory for Tanner Kneebone, because it's nail-biting, unlike the Miami Dolphins Denver Broncos game of a few seasons ago. Or is he going to waddle his way to this race win? Let's wait and see and find out in this one. That is Stardog
3-1.
3-1. Hey, that's what I'm here for. As Peckman has got Stardog within a second. Mirko still on the back of Sam Greaves then, and Gary Leach 1.3 seconds. What's the gap going to be through the latest sector? It's back up to 2 seconds. So Gary, has a big moment there, has jumped back. Tanner has managed to open that gap back up a little bit. So Gary just starting to struggle a little bit here.
And dirty air is a thing in this game, though just not massive. Can change the balance of the car, but you have to think, Gary is on the freshest tires. He went the longest, but he's probably pushed the hardest as well. Just 5 minutes now. I mean, this is so nerve-wracking. At the very end of this race, 2.5 at the Sector 2 line as they come back around to the start-finish straight.
And with 5 minutes to go on the clock, they've just about to close the second door on the Artemis 2 space rocket. So that's getting ready to launch in an hour and 10 minutes' time as the second door is shut. And they slammed that. Jeez, calm down, lads. Let's go to the moon and back. Slam that shut. A bit like Tanner might do if he doesn't win this race, I reckon. But 2.7 now the gap for Tanner. So doing well. And Peckman's coming back at Popovic with Stardog coming with him. So a great little three-way fight here between these three for 7th, 8th and 9th on this circuit. You've then got Mirko Ricci attacking the back of Sam Greaves. No real other fights happening And has Gary just cost himself a chance of a race win with a few too many mistakes on the last lap? He's brought the gap down before. He can do it again. He's just got to stay consistent here. He seems to have the pace at this stage of the race over Tananebo.
He should, and I was watching Mirko Ricci and Sam Greaves, and Mirko Ricci just made a bit of a mistake there. Now stretches his legs. Sam Greaves stretches his legs over Mirko Ricci. Stardog right on the back of Peckman, but not that far off Popovich. Never mind that, they are on completely different.
Oh, no, Simcoe's back in the pits again.
Oh boy!
So that could allow Privet and Millington the chance to get an extra position in this race. As Peckman, huge send up the inside, and it goes horribly wrong, and he's facing the wrong way. Loses out to Stardog there. And what happened to Peckman? Just in that moment, let's get a replay of what has happened there, and let's take a look. See, it was a big send into turn number 1, and you're just going to see on the replay here, as they come through the final corner, he just got it horribly wrong, hit that raised curb, and around it went. Yeah, just misjudged it. Popovich did so well to back out of that one and get that from not being a bigger incident than what it was.
I think, unfortunately for Tanner, he's going to cross the line with just a few seconds left on the clock. So I think we're on our third to last lap now, so there's still be 2 to go at the line, I believe. He's not going to want to do that extra lap, but he's going to have to.
Yeah.
That gap, 1.8 at the line and 1.5 at the Sector 1 line. It's getting nervy here. This is getting real. The showdown of the BMWs. The Forever Ford racing car of Tanner Kneebone and the Rick Mears liveried BMW and the SimPlay racing car of Gary Leach coming down to the wire here. We've had 90 minutes of racing, only a second and a half in it, and who will come out on top in this one?
And by the way, front engine dominance tonight, not just BMW, front engine. The next car that is not a front engine car is Stardog in 8th place. What a front engine dominant race this has been. The gap is under a second though, and Gary Leach is on the charge here to Tanner Kneebone with 2 minutes exactly on the clock. And I think you're right, this will be penultimate lap of this race, and the next time round will be the white flag above the gantry.
Gary was a little wide at that chicane. The gap, no, he wasn't. He gained a little bit at that chicane. The gap only 0.8, and he will be picking up a distant slipstream there. It is one thing to catch. It's another thing to pass. Luckily for Tanner, there's not long for Gary to pass, and unfortunately for Gary, it is a whole nother ball game, but he's got 2 laps to do it.
And if there's one man that you'd want to go racing with on the final lap of the race, it is Gary Leach, one of the cleanest drivers. I say cleanest, one of the best drivers to go wheel to wheel with at SimPlay Motorsport. This will be an epic showdown here at the Brickyard once again. How many times in real life, how many times at SimPlay have we seen an epic showdown? All them, oh, stop go 30 for Simcoe, so he's back in to do his stop go 30. How many seasons ago, can't remember when it was now, that Gary Leach was driving the wrong way in his Porsche at Indianapolis, and now could be on for a 90-minute race win, and could take both 90-minute race wins here in this season. Obviously, I'd love to see more 90-minute races come back for next season. I think they have been a breath of fresh air. And this is coming down to the wire. 35 seconds on the clock as they enter the final sector.
Ooh,
both bounce off the wall. Oh, and he's made a move on the inside. He's bounced over the curb. Oh, my days.
I think Gary has to give that back. That was way too deep at the chicane, and I think Gary is giving that back, so good on him. It'll be 1 lap left of racing, though. Gary's given himself the optimal line running out the final corner. Tanner's got the edge on him coming out the final. He'll defend the middle of the track. Will he defend the inside? Yes, he does defend the inside. Forces Gary to the outside. We're on the final lap of racing right now. Gary looks to the outside for the win of this race. Tanner on the inside. Can he hold it there to the apex first? Not too deep. Gary tries to switch back and has to tuck in just for now in this first sector.
And what a drive this is. What a race this is going to be. The last lap will decide. 90 minutes of pure non-stop action will decide this race winner. Gary a little wider than Tanner on the exit of turn 4. Into the infield we go. And this is where Gary Leach has now got to capitalise. He's got to make sure that Tanner is put under enough pressure to make a mistake. He did the right thing by yielding the time and giving the place back. But Tanner Kneebone is doing everything he needs to do over the 2 times pro champ Gary Leach. Tanner would love his first race win of the season and would love to take the checkered flag on his special livery in the Brickyard at Indianapolis. But Gary Leach will be a tough man to defend against into the Triple S as we go for the final time as we head towards the final sector.
The final sector and the final hard braking zone. If you have any track limits warnings, you use them now. I think Tanner's going to have to defend the inside here. And then this braking zone already on the inside part of the track gives Gary no possible opportunity to go down the inside. Into the final chicane. Gary's a bit wide. The final corner is approaching now. The penultimate corner they come through. Tanner Kneebone through the final corner. This livery is won at the Brickyard before. He's leading the pack now, and he is going to take the checkered flag for a home win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Unbelievable drive, lights to flag finish from Kneebone. And what an unbelievable drive and race we've had tonight. I'm sorry if I've broken your eardrums on stream. If that doesn't excite you, nothing will. I've got my adrenaline pumping, and oh my goodness, what a racing's worth of action. May I remind you that the last 90-minute race provided you the closest ever finish for a class win in the history of SimPlay Motorsport at the bronze class. 90 minutes of racing in this one, less than a second for the winner at the finish. Gary Leach takes second. Kieran Argent back on the podium in the feature race. Richard Bettison take a bow, a P4 in his Aston Martin. Wolski comes to round up the top 5. Hunt in P6. Popovich all the way back into P7. Stardog P8. Peckman takes your bronze win, crosses the line now in P9. Greaves will round up, who's actually in a fight with Mirko Ricci, who has a massive snap at the final corner there. Keeps it held together, and that'll be Greaves in P10, and then Mirko Ricci crosses the line, P11, and Stapley will come home second in bronze. Williams 14th or 13th, and Neil Broom rounds out your bronze podium. And wow. Oh my gosh, what a race we've had tonight.
What a race we've had indeed. What an end to the night. It has been absolutely fantastic. Like you say, Peckman, your winner in bronze. Broom gets on the podium again and nearly got second place in bronze. So Broom closes that gap to Peckman in points. Still loses 22.5 points, but closes it nonetheless. Malarex was down in 17th overall. Stapley 12th overall. Reminder that drivers score points for their overall finish, not per category. Simcoe did finish behind that of Privet and Steve Millington in this race, but will finish P21 and still score himself some points. What a drive. We'll await for some drivers to come in here for an interview. I've got my driver of the day, and as much as I'd love to give it to Tanner Kneebone, I'm going to give it to Richard Bettison in the bronze. I think it'll be hard not to give it to a man who has been so defeated, so deflated in that Aston Martin this season. It would be so hard not to give it to him. So I'm going to go the way of Richard Bettison. And for bronze, I'm going to give it Peckman. I think he's had a solid night of racing. But I'll be joined by a few drivers in the comms box. Well, we've got P3, Kieran Argent. Langley, I'll let you take that while I work out the drop scores.
Well, Kieran, no way to sugarcoat it. It was no man's land tonight. 20 seconds off the top 2 and then 20 seconds to the car behind you. Mirko Ricci had his mistake at the pit stop. Let you jump up into P3, take a podium. It's been a while. How was the race?
Yeah, quite lonely, as you said. I had a battle with Wolski at the start, but once I cleared him, he sort of disappeared from rear view. And then, yeah, lonely. I couldn't put him all better than that.
Well, I would ask how your first race had gone if we had a first race, but Yeah, I mean, consistent drive from you tonight, back on the podium, and your teammate taking P1. So a great result for the team tonight, and closing points back on that Constructors' Championship. So well done to yourself. And next week we have Imola. So how we like Imola?
Not driven it in the BM before, but I've had a podium last time out in the Ferrari in the sprint, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Good point for the team tonight, and congratulations again to Tanner.
Just want to add one thing, Kieran. Sorry, Langley. Just want to add one thing, Kieran.
Go ahead.
Are you going to stop whining in the week in practice? Because every time you seem to have a real bad week of moaning and complaining about the car and the circuit and how you're doing, you end up having a good result. Are we going to put that to bed?
If it keeps me getting a podium, then no. But no, well, I can't. Say consistency was key tonight. I knew I didn't have the pace to keep up with Tanner and Gary in front, and I knew I had the pace from cars behind. So just done what I needed to do and come home in no man's land.
Well, great drive from you tonight, and good news for you with Imola. I know you said you haven't driven it in the BM. Good news for all three of you, because you're all three in BMs. Last time we went to Imola, it was by far and away the most OP car around that circuit. So good news for you with that.
And just to add to that, he says he
probably just jinxed me now.
He says he hasn't had a podium. Didn't he take a podium there in the Ferrari after a lot of whining and complaining in practice all week? Oh, you did say that. All right, I'll let you off then. Sorry.
I said last time we were there, I took a podium in Ferrari.
There we go. With a lot of whining and complaining.
Great. Well, great drive to Kieran, and we'll separate these two and move on to Gary Leach. And
cheers,
well, Gary, I'll be honest, it looked at one point, it was just come home P3, 10 seconds behind the top two, but 10 seconds out the pits, slowly closing that gap down on that last stint. And making a fight of it right at the end, giving us an absolute grandstand finish. Heartbreak just to come away in P2, but have to tip your cap. Great drive tonight from yourself, and closing that gap down right at the very end and keeping Tanner honest all the way.
Yeah, I was in a party with Tanner, actually. I kept hearing him say his tyres were going off, and he just wanted to get some laps in. And I was thinking, let's try push it, put a bit of pressure on him. And then I heard him kept saying, "Oh, Gary, leave me alone." And I just kept pushing. The last 4 laps, I didn't have any tyres left, to be fair. So hats off to him. He had the pace tonight, by far.
Yeah, you two gave us an absolutely grandstand battle at the end there. We thought the race was pretty much sealed, done and dusted when you came out 10 seconds out the pit lane, but you proved that not to be. So nothing to hang your head about, and keep your chin up high. That's another great result, and not sure what the championship standings are, but it should be, you should be pretty close to the top now after that one, as some of the ones around you probably did not have as great of a night. But Imola next week, how we like Imola. Last time we were out at Imola, you won that race.
Did I?
I
can't remember what happened yesterday, so that must have been in a Porsche, I believe, was it?
No, you were in the BM last season.
Oh, was I? Happy days. Let's bring on Imola then. Let's get some more points in the bag.
Just to point out for the audience listening, Gary probably can't remember what he had for breakfast. Never mind what he did last season. So yeah.
No, and to be fair, that's also good news, because that means I'll turn up next week at 8 o'clock and have a setup ready to go.
Can't remember what he had for breakfast, but he can remember his chips. Anyway, Gary.
You can't even comment on that joke, but yeah, fair play. Hats off to you.
Anyway,
well
Gary.
Done, Tanner, as well, just to add.
Great drive tonight, and we will see you next week for Imola, trying to defend your win at Imola. So, and
cheers,
then on to the man of the night, the man in the Rick Mears livery, the livery that's won around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway before. Cue up Freebird and let freedom ring, as the American, with his home races this season, have been so cruel to him. The Indianapolis Speedway has opened up the gates and has allowed victory to take place tonight. And fly like an eagle, as they would say sometimes, or run like a bronco, as you would say, Tanner. And great job tonight. Great job from you. From the start, you basically led from lights to flag, but it was way more complicated than that. Popovich getting the drive-through, so that you inherited the lead, and then put under pressure by Richie in the first stint, and then probably almost had a heart attack in the second stint with that gap slowly melting down towards that final lap showdown. But yeah, just an awesome drive from you tonight. And what was it from your perspective, especially on that final stint?
Work. Oh. Hello?
Hello, we've got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Almost? Oh, there we go. Okay. What is this almost having a heart attack? Fuck. I catch myself. No, but what is this almost having a heart attack? Gary Leach gave me one. I don't know if you guys caught it, but we both messed up the second to last or the third to last corner. My car just drifted up and hit the wall, and I didn't know where to brake. And then Gary just bottomed out and just flew and almost took us both out.
You both hit the wall, actually. It was monkey
okay.
see, monkey do.
See,
He hit the
monkey
wall behind you as well.
Okay, that and then immediately after I had my pit stop, I had a slow puncture in my rear left tire. So it just eventually the last corner became a safety lift corner for me. So I was losing even more time there. But no, my tires were dead for the last 10 laps.
Did you take tires in that race, Tanner?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally brand new set of tires. As soon as I leave leave the pit lane, I see my bottom left one just ticking down. It was like at 24.7 by the end of the race.
Oh my, that would explain the time loss to be
Yes.
that would definitely explain the time loss over the stint. So 24.7 over the line. And wow, just great drive from you tonight, and a season where it's had its ebbs and flows, but this is definitely the high point of your season so far. And next week we head to Imola, where the BM has proven to be an absolute monster around last season. And how we feeling about Imola?
It's all downhill from here, boys. This is the peak. It's going. I'm gonna somehow flip my car like the Camaro did at Watkins Glen last week. So I don't know. Imola, I love Imola, but me and Imola is like that one weird relationship in high school where they're always on and off. They're either the model couple or they're the model of what you don't want to be in a relationship, and that's me with Imola.
Well, the model of an absolute top drive was you tonight, and yeah, it's good to see you back on the podium and then back on the top step as well. Like I said, I haven't been on the top step across the line since Monza 2 seasons ago. So, yeah, absolute amazing. Yeah, no, it was feature race actually. Absolute amazing drive from you tonight. 90-minute masterclass, and Gary takes points and adds on to. Actually, Matt will have the standings for you in a moment here. But great drive from the both of you tonight. Absolute grandstand finish. Hats off to both of you, and we'll catch you next week at Imola.
Yep, so the championship standings then are as follows. Gary Leach leads the way by 43 points to Steve Millington, with Mirko Ricci now up in third. He's a bit further off than that. He is 62 points off of 72 points off of the back of Gary Leach. Sam Williams is fourth. Even further behind, he's on 685.5. Wolski's down to 5th, with Greaves back up into 6th. Tanner Kneebone up into 7th place, and he's only 44 points off the back of Sam Williams and only 50 points off the back of Mirko Ricci. Johnson stays in 8th with Hunt in 9th. Kieran Argent only half a point off the back of Hunt. Stardog P11 from Flores, Gabino, De Block, Paul Williams, Bettison, Craig Taylor, Sturrock, Limiter, Popovich, Stronlander and Cummins. In bronze, Peckman is 50.5 points clear ahead of Neil Broom. Stapley moves into 3rd, Malarex 4th, Tucker 5th, Cherry Moore down in 6th place, with Privet, Page, Taylor, Simcoe, Rob Smith and Ian Best. And the team's championship, well, what was nearly a 300-point gap has only turned into a 220-point gap as 4Q Motorsport closed the gap on SimPlay Racing. Although I don't think that has actually worked it out quite correct, because it's saying SimPlay scored
wait a minute.
97 points. Let me just double check something. Yeah, put them both in. Drop scores possibly why as well. So yeah, Steve's drop scores, that'll be why it's not counted for that one. But yeah, 4Q or second place with Forever Forward in third, only 16 points behind 4Q. So they're trying to stay in this fight. They have moved 30 points clear of Greasy Bandits Racing. Cloud9 trying to slowly work their way in on Greasy Bandits in a top 4 spot, but not likely from here. They're some 216 behind. Vanguard Racing a P6 from Team GBR, Richie's course team, Team Merlot, FRL Racing Team, Black and Blue Racing, Balkan Sim, Pages Racing Team, Billy No Mates, Mustang Alley Racing, and Quantum Motorsport. Langley, driver of the day for bronze and silver, and your final thoughts on this race.
I think he got a driver of the day the other week, but for grabbing another podium in the bronze category, you pick Peckman, I'll pick Neil Broom on this one,
fair.
grabbing another podium. And since you've given your driver of the day to Richard Bettison, I will go with the one playing Freebird tonight on his playlist and go with Tanner Kneebone.
I think that's fair. I don't think you can argue with any of them 4 options here. Tanner Kneebone also gets the audience's vote for driver of the day. But what a night it has been. Silver nearly shone as bright as gold tonight for Tanner Kneebone, but he hung on in there at the very, very end and managed to clinch a win. The 2 90-minute races for Pro-Am are done. We'll be back tomorrow night for Pro, where the weather is going to play its part in this 90-minute race. It is going to be a belter. You're not going to want to miss a single minute of that. Join me live at 8 p.m. BST, GMT +1 for all the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, as well as hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Me and Langley will be back next Wednesday for Pro-Am as we head back to Europe for the final 3 weeks of racing. Imola is where we head to for the final round of the drop scores as well. So drivers need to make sure they have a good round there before the drop scores completely end for the season. But Tanner is your man on top from Gary Leach and Kieran Argent. Front engine dominance in Indianapolis. We'll see you next time.